safe space for talking about UFOs, UAPs, NHI, disclosure, S4, Groom Lake, the sport model, all of it. Oh my God. S4, the Bob Lazar documentary that we've all been waiting for, just broke my brain. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, we're going to be talking about it today. Excuse me. Got my Project Gravatar hat. Luigi Venditelli, home run. Brother, crushed it. The definitive, if I may say, and I want to hear what the guys have to say about this, but just my 2 cents off the top here, the definitive documentary about Bob Lazar and the program. Like, if you want to know what's going on, at least at that particular moment in time, holy moly. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But before we do, hey, huge announcement this week. We launched this on Wednesday. People thought I was kidding. Night Shift the Coffee. Brought to you by Night Shift the Coffee. We're officially a coffee brand now. If you go to teamnightshift.com, you can buy the Night Shift coffee. This is a blend of Brazilian and Mexican beans that has been chosen specifically by me. It's what's in my cup. And it's roasted. Each package is roasted specifically for you within 48 hours of you placing your order. It's freshness that defies physics. And I'll just leave it there. All right. That's out of the way. Shout out to everybody in our chat today. Great to see all of you. Fawn Miller's here. Obi-Wan Shinobi's here. Silver Star. Great to see you. Who else? Zoltanium. Great to see you. Mr. Justin's here. Obi-Wan. Quantum Sheep. Everybody. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. And we have a question in our poll. If you haven't seen it yet, have you or are you planning to watch the Bob Lazar documentary S4? So make sure you participate in the poll. All right, guys, let's go to our panel. What's up, gang? We've got Pavel, Xander, Eric, and Dan somewhere. Luigi Venditelli was going to be with us today, but he's in Thailand shooting a movie with Chow Yun-Fat. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us today. But
he was in the chat just before we started.
He might be.
So maybe he's on the move somewhere.
His interview on Joe Rogan just dropped too, by the way.
God. Damn.
Too much. There's too much going on.
Everybody's like, bye.
Bye. See ya.
Is Dan back?
I don't know.
We don't know
he
where
said
Dan
he had
is.
no audio a little while ago. So.
Yeah, odd. It's gone again. Anyway.
What do you guys think? Did everybody see it? Has everybody watched it?
Oh, yeah. I saw it twice already.
Watched it twice.
It's just that I rented it, you know?
Oh, you ran it. You gotta, yeah. I went ahead.
So I was 1 minute 7 seconds in when I messaged Luigi.
Is that right?
I was literally in the intro, and as soon as the shots of S4 hit, and that shot through the cactus and the overhead shot of S4 and the fidelity of it, I just messaged him immediately wow.
It was awesome.
Just the visuals alone were absolutely stunning, and it's so nice to know it wasn't AI. It's really refreshing to know that wasn't AI. Real actors and everything. Absolutely stunning.
Eric, did you get a chance to see it?
I didn't. I'm afraid I didn't. I am a fan of Lazar. And in fact, the original Rogan interview is the thing that got me into UAPs. I think that was June 2019. That's where it all started for me.
Is that right? Was it the original Rogan Lazar interview?
Yeah, and I wasn't familiar with Bob Lazar at the time. And I was like, who's this guy? And then another question I asked is, what the hell is he talking about? And
wow.
I'm a big fan. I think other people have stronger evidence, yet I think it's the best story out there. So I'm totally on the Lazar train. Choo choo.
Choo choo. Are you ready to get spoiled, bro? Because we're going to spoil the fuck out of this. I'm kidding.
Yes, that's just fine. That's fine. The suspense has been filled, so now I'm ready.
Well, what's cool is the story is broadly known anyway, so it's not like you're going to, we're not going to change the ending, but the attention to detail is really out of this world. Who wants to go first? Well, Xander, if the cactus blew you away, you weren't even 3 minutes in. Pavel, what really rocked your boat when you saw it?
Well, initially I was critical of those images that Luigi showed of the hangar doors because it's let's face it, it's really grainy. You can see definitely patterns there, but I think that the photos alone are not undeniable evidence of anything really. But if you put together the thing that he did with Google Earth, where he found the tracks going back in time, and those pictures, that changes the story. And that, I think, that tells you a little piece of the puzzle that of Bob's story. And yeah, tell me.
I just want to back up because you're jumping into the middle of something that if people aren't really sure what we're talking about, they might get lost here. And can you back out a little bit and give some context for this scene?
We should probably say as well that there may be some. If you want the surprise, maybe tonight's episode. We're not going to share everything because you should see the film, but we're going to talk about it at the end of the day, and that includes talking about the details that we've learned in the process. So
we'll try to
alert, I'd say mild
around some of the big ones, but I think we can. We'll make it work.
Well, I won't spoil saying where the pictures were, like where he got the pictures, but there's a certain scene where Luigi is with Bob showing him some pictures that are supposed to be from S4, and it's it's from the distance. It's like from 17 miles away that was taken, which is the person who took them had a really, really nice camera, because even though if you close up, it looks grainy, just the picture alone, the raw file, it looks pretty clear. And one of those pictures is supposed to be, it makes like a correlation between something that Bob said about S4 and the picture, and him potentially being an S4. Online people criticized the close-up picture that was already altered. And I still think this, I don't think the picture alone is really proof of anything, but the story put together, I think it is. And maybe a lot of people disagree with me, but that's my take.
And for people who, if you're just new to this conversation and you're not really clear on what exactly S4, this project, this documentary is, just to kind of give you some atmospherics on this, Project Gravatar is a project that has been in the works by Luigi Venditelli and his team for, I think, it's got to be at least 4 years now, 4, maybe 5. I don't know when he started, but it's been a couple of years since I found out about it and we started talking about it. And he has worked side by side with Bob Lazar to recreate detail by detail the entire experience that Bob describes in his testimony and in his interviews that he's done. And basically this documentary walks us through his story piece by piece, step by step, detail by detail, and it lets you basically look in like a fly on the wall and see what Bob saw, down to the smallest details of how big the space was where the hangar was stored, or what the room was like where the nurse worked, and what the hallway looked like that you walked down, how he got to and from the base to do his work, what type of work they were doing. It's all here in one comprehensive documentary that, to my mind, I haven't seen anything that is more beautifully put together than this that tackles this subject. It is a stunning, beautifully made, exquisite to look at piece of work. And I don't know how many millions of hours they put into this, but it shows whatever it was they did. It comes through in every frame.
I hate to be that guy, but I think this is on the level of The Phenomenon. I think on the level, like one of the best that I've seen, honestly. And it's like Age of Disclosure, nowhere near any of these two that we're talking about. I just had the little detail with the image there. And you know, the big reveal at the end. I'll just call it the scene of the casino. I thought that was really interesting. I'm not going to spoil that because I think that's a key part. But you guys gotta watch that one. In terms of execution, I thought it was pretty fantastic. The visuals were stunning. Great production value. You know, the storytelling, the human aspect of Bob, that was really well put together, I think. And it makes you be more sympathetic towards Bob too, and like his personal life. Nobody had ever shown that before about Bob, and I thought that was important also to show.
Dan,
I think. Sorry,
are you here?
I think so.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Xander.
Yes.
All right, cool. Had a lot of an audio nightmare, so I had to adjust on the fly, but here I am.
What did you think of S4, man?
I thought it was
Hot
quite
take.
good. Quite good. I thought it was really cool, some new information. I thought the visuals were incredible. I thought Bob was awesome, and the stuff inside the sport model just blew my mind.
It's so beautiful to look at, to just watch, just sitting. You could watch this documentary with the sound off and enjoy every minute of it, because they show, I mean, it looks so real. He's like really raised the bar on what you can do with a story like this. The interiors of the craft, the lab. I guess I never really thought about the lab being just a plain, like, I know he says it, but it's different when you see it and you know that like he's looked at this and signed off on it and said, no, that's what the room looked like. And it's kind of like, it's just got junk everywhere. There's like a lot of shit kind of on benches and stuff. I guess I expected it to be something way different than what it is, but it made it real for me in a way that it wasn't real before. I guess if that, it gave it shape and form.
Total, absolutely.
What was I about to say? I'm not an expert in much. I would consider myself an expert in Bob Lazar, all things Bob Lazar. But even watching this, I learned quite a lot about the character of the man, more than anything. But as you just said, Clint, actually seeing it visually laid out in front of you, I'd never really seen we've seen images of the reactor and even like rudimentary CGI of the reactor and things like that. But when you see the drum being rotated, it really conveys the magic of it all. And I mean that in a literal sense, because you can ask Bob to try and explain the physics behind this thing. And you think, well, he's a physicist. He should know these things if he really was there, kind of thing. But then he starts to talk about the magic behind how it all seems to communicate with all these three different sections communicate with each other completely inexplicably. The physics themselves, how the candle... The candle will freeze inside at the end of, if you hold it at the end of the gravity emitter, but you shouldn't technically, according to Lazar's physics, be able to actually see the candle, because if you're manipulating gravity, it should be bending the photons. But he could see it clearly, and he was talking about the physics quite literally not making any sense whatsoever. And that was the first time I really got the sense that this is actual freaking magic that he was trying to decipher. So it was really cool to see those visual elements, because that sold it to me. It made it like, of course they're throwing crazy guys at this, because this is crazy what they're dealing with. Like, they don't want somebody who's stuck in the mud that knows that has like 7 PhDs and thinks they know everything, because he'll just go in and say it's a trick. Like, they need somebody who's with a slightly open mind, possibly not the smartest man on for the job, but he will go for it. He'll cut into it if he needs to.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too, right? Like the gang, the group that he was in contact with, like Dennis. First of all, what a fucking asshole, Dennis. Come on, man. 45-minute drive, 2 words. These guys.
I mean, he could have been forced, right? Dennis.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying. Dennis is his handler that's taking him back. Dennis doesn't talk much, so I'm just making a joke. I'm sure Dennis is a fine individual. But the other guy in the lab, what was his name? The guy that he's working with? Barry. It's like, okay, like all this build up, and then you go through all the security and everything, and it's like, all right, you ready? Are you ready for this? And it's like go into a room, and there's Barry. He's like, hey, are you the new guy? Oh, hi, I'm Barry. All right, so look, there's the coffee maker, here's the water cooler, here's the filing cabinet where we keep the thing, and then there's this thing. I don't know what we're gonna do here, but this is pretty fucking amazing.
Very much the sense I got that on paper everything is really compartmentalized, and they're really strict. You must look forwards and stuff like that. But in person, humans be humans, and they kind of look at each other like, "Hey, check this out. Look at this. don't quickly look at this." Like, I feel like that's kind of maybe how it is a little bit, because it's cool to have a secret and to share that secret with somebody else. And I think maybe they're sort of, maybe even inside the Legacy program, they kind of play with that a little bit as much as they can.
Imagine you're Barry, right? What about Barry's feelings? Barry is working on this propulsion device. He has no idea what's going on. He thinks he's, maybe his team, they've got a little bit of progress, or they know some things, obviously. But then your other guy, whoever the other guy is that's working with Barry, goes one day to some off-site place, and they're like, oh, I guess they're going to do something with the reactor. He takes the reactor, and then you just find out that he exploded and is dead. Now you're Barry. You're back in the lab. You're like by yourself. This new guy comes in. Hi, I'm Bob. Oh, hi, Bob. I'm Barry. What happened
the
to the other
one
guy?
was called Bob.
Yeah, we could call him Bob too. It reminded me of that show Severance. I don't know if anybody else here is watching that show, but where they go to this building, and it's kind of like this. It's sort of this weird liminal space, and like they have no memory of the outside world, so it's like their whole world is inside this little building. And I just wonder, like the poster on the wall, right? He describes they're in this. Was it in the hangar, right? The poster that says they're here.
There was a few of them, I think.
Yeah, like
dotted around.
They describe this place as a humorless place, and it's just like an absolutely oppressive environment. And yet there are like little human touches. Like somebody thought to go down to the print shop on base and print up a poster. Some guy is photoshopping this together at his desk, and then they hung it up on the wall. Someone slapped an American flag sticker. Like, dude, really? You put a sticker on the ship?
It was also upside down or something, that American flag too. That was interesting, right?
No, just backwards. Just backwards.
Backwards.
Which is how they do it in the military, I believe. Right, Eric?
They do? I didn't know.
Yeah, so that's a little confusing. You have, if the way it's supposed to be arranged, sometimes it looks backwards, but it's just oriented in the direction of movement.
Yes.
That's implied.
Mm.
So, if you
So
go
there's no
forward,
right
it would
or
be
wrong
going
way?
backwards.
Yeah, it sometimes it looks backward. Well, wait. Oh, I should know this. Sometimes it looks backwards, and perhaps the stars always have to be on the left side. And so if the stars are to the left side and you're walking to the right, it looks like it's backwards.
I guess if you had one on
fluttering
one side of the cockpit and one on the other side, they have to kind of line up, don't they? So that's why one of them would have to be backwards.
Yes. So some, even on military uniforms, look backwards, but they're not.
Can you imagine the conversation that some officer had with another guy when they were trying to put the sticker on the, they're like, where should we put it? Which way does it go? I don't know. I thought you knew. Put it by the door. Which side? We get somebody from the graphics team in here.
It'd be easy if some countries have like symmetrical flags. That's what we need. Just put like the stars in the middle or something, and then this conversation's over.
Done.
Mr. Justin saves the day with, here we go. It says, to represent the flag flying forward in the breeze as the soldier moves onward, symbolizing advancement, not retreat. Thanks,
Nailed
Mr.
it.
Justin.
Awesome.
Damn.
That is interesting.
Can I say something about the anti-gravity?
Yeah.
I found it cool that Bob said something along the lines of, we just call it anti-gravity, but he was open to the possibility of it being something entirely different that just like plays with frequency. I found that fascinating, because for the longest time, everybody in this space goes like anti-gravity or 0 point energy, and they just throw terms like that as if they knew about it, really. But I don't think that, even like, I've spoken to Missile Man a couple times. He doesn't know what it is either, you know? And I found it refreshing that Bob is also in that mindset of, we call it that, but we don't really know what it is until we really find out, you know? And
it might be
really
it
like
might be a
that.
whole different force. He said it might be a whole different
Yes.
force. We don't know. It might not be even be gravity.
I really like that.
I think that was the other thing that I really liked about this documentary, because it takes, if you're familiar with Bob's story from listening to bits and pieces of it, like most people are throughout the years, and you hear like, you know, an interview here and a little thing over here, it can be very disjointed in your mind how all this stuff fits together, but this puts it together piece by piece in a way that you really get an appreciation of just how weird the situation was. Like, for example, I didn't realize, I had heard him say all this, but I guess it just didn't click for me when he's like, there are 3 gravity emitters in the bottom of the ship. They cut one of them out. That one was in the lab, and they're working on that one. And then the other 2 were still functional, and the ship was still flyable with 2, right? I think he said that.
Just not in delta mode, right?
Not in delta configuration. Right.
Right.
And then he says, like, the lab. Now, one thing I wasn't clear on, and maybe you guys can clarify for me. He said, we couldn't see any obvious connection between the parts of the ship. And then they're talking about the gravity emitter. So in the documentary, you see the room. They show the lab where Bob and Barry are working. And it's like, here's the reactor. And it literally looks like a fucking Bialetti like coffee maker. I'm not just trying to sell coffee here. It looks like an espresso machine. It looks like a little, you would buy this at like the mall. And it's sitting on a table. And then like 8 feet away, there's this big thing that looks like a black piece of pipe. Like, I mean, how big would you say this thing was? It was like, what, 6 feet? Not even
Like
4
a trash
feet?
can.
A trash can.
Yeah.
Big enough that you could pick it up, right? And so it's just over there on a table. And as far as I understand from the way this is shown, there's no connection between these 2 pieces. But when you take the drum of the gravity emitter and just rotate it 20 degrees, it puts a demand on the reactor sitting 8 feet away, and somehow they transmit power between, or, you know, somehow power gets to the emitter. And I was just
That's
like,
what I mean.
wait.
It's like complete magic.
But I thought, I guess what I was, my thinking was like, oh, well, the ship is the connection, right? So when it was all installed in the ship, it's all one piece. It operates like one thing. But that is correct, right? They were separated. They were cut apart. There was nothing between them. They were sitting separated in the room, and they still worked like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another strange thing to think about, and he does talk about it in the film. He says they must have been really sure they weren't about to blow up the base when they cut that thing out. But it begs the question, because obviously they tried to cut into a reactor and thing went boom, but apparently cutting out the amplifier with a laser cutter didn't do anything. Did they just gamble on that, or did they know somehow? And if they knew somehow, then how did they know somehow? And then, this isn't new knowledge. He's talked about there being an alien cooperation, a level of alien cooperation before in old interviews.
Yeah.
So was it a case of, there's a few options. They may have been told by whoever was originally piloting the craft, yeah, you can cut one out, but you won't be able to fly it in Delta. Or maybe it was, I've thought of maybe, what if it was part of the condition of them actually having the craft is that you can have it, but you can only have it if you can't take it Interstellar. You can only have it when it's been maimed a little bit, so that basically you can't take it and build a fleet and go
You can't come
to
to
our planet.
house.
And nick.
We'll take out the firing pin, but you can have, yeah.
Yeah, you can have this to take a look. You can go up and sort of float around a little bit, but you're kind of limited to 30 miles an hour.
God, that did not click for me until you just said that. That is brilliant. What if they did, and they didn't cut it out? That's interesting.
And of course, you have the agreement or whatever, some massive disagreement happening allegedly in 1979, and all the aliens buggered off, and now you've all of a sudden got a top hat UFO and a couple of hangars down that's got some holes, projectile holes in it.
Which, by the way, is apparently light enough that they were able to prop it, lean it against the wall in a hangar.
Like an old tire, like a truck tire.
Like a fucking tire at a goddamn fucking auto shop, like rolled up against the wall. And it's like leaning there. You get the impression that it's just like... to some extent, it's like a regular working garage. Like they
put it with the others.
Fucking put it over there. We'll get to it. I don't know. But I like the description of the flight, right? He's talking about how it flies. And another example of why the beautiful visuals are so key to this is that they're demonstrating the gravity emitter and how it works in this lab setting. And I'm gonna say it, but it won't matter. You have to see this to really appreciate this moment. They show how they're doing a couple little, just like cool shit. It's like dudes in a lab, like, you want to see something? Watch this. Let me light this fucking candle. They light a candle and then they freeze the flame, like you said. They freeze that flame, and then light's coming off of it. It's not moving. And then they're like, okay, watch this. And they do something else, and it collapses into a point of gravity that is so strong, it is pure black.
That was wild.
And fucking so wild. In the middle of the room, a ball appears, a little hole in, like, it's just like a black hole floating in space. And they're like, this is what happens when a phantom black hole. And what's crazy is it's right there. It's like, what if you fucking touch it? What if you put your hand in there? What happens if you I don't know, can you drop
you
a pencil
teleport
in there? Right? I don't, who knows? But see, that's my point. It's like to what you were saying, Xander, like, I think at some point you got to just take a chance. Someone's going to be like, well, fuck, we got to cut it. It's either we sit here and jerk off and look at it for the next 50 years, or we're going to have to cut into this thing and see what it's made of.
Yeah. And apparently they did jerk off for like 40 years or something until they decided to.
You think so? I think they would. He said they had made a lot of progress by the time he got there.
So at that point, too, weren't they already working with Russians on the base? So there's a chance that another country had already cut something like that out. They may have had some knowledge from some other nation could have helped out with that, too.
It makes you wonder. Like,
around that time, the Berlin Wall fell, right? So Russia and U.S. relations were a little tighter.
No, that was right? 90 or 91, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, so it was like 3 years after?
I could be wrong. Maybe it was 89.
It was a couple of years.
So
it
fell apart in 89. The Berlin Wall fell in 91, I think. But by then, Soviet Union was gone. But people take the Berlin Wall as the defining moment, I think. But yeah, they were apparently this whole cooperation with the Soviets was always just completely separate from whatever relationship problems America and the US were having anyway. For example, there's a treaty for space, isn't there? That's why the Americans and the Russians, they can be on the ISS together, no problem. They hand off control. We ride share with them all the time. It's like one of those small. It's so strange that we're just completely cool with each other in a completely different domain, no problem whatsoever, but it just exists in a vacuum. And I think that's probably the case with S4 anyway, or it was.
It's an interesting time capsule of that moment. Like, his story is describing the situation as he witnessed it in that period of like 1989, whatever that little kind of range in there where he was working. And then you say, okay, well, so let's call it 1990 just to pick a round number. And here we are in 2026 now. So we've had, 36 years of material science progress, computer progress, all of our other fields have advanced. And think about how dramatic the advancements have been. And if they were able to not disassemble, but at least cut it into bits and pieces and study it and make it work more or less back in 1989, one can only imagine how much farther we've gotten by now. And it makes sense if you think about it from that timeline to now, and you start to think, okay, sooner or later, it can't be secret forever. You got to do something with it, right? Like we're going on another 40 years since that period. So, what is it? Are we getting close to that point? Are we getting close to the, Pavel, I'm leading up to that coin thing.
Oh yeah.
Are we going to all need to buy our disclosure coins? How much are they retailing for?
You know what the fun part
know?
about this story is? That I just found out about it yesterday. I had no idea this was going on. And then I started asking, and a lot of the people that I do trust in this space are like, yeah, there was apparently a briefing where this was told to people. And we already got like confirmation from a few people that we all know. So that was really strange to me. That came out of left field.
Where's that picture from that you showed us?
It's from a lady by the name of French, French.com, who's actually part of the UFO Twitter Doom Room crew, which is different than Doomer Friday crew. But they have been doing Doom spaces for a while, like longer than us. And she reported on that. She said that one of her sources told her about this limited disclosure that was allegedly scheduled for like May. So they kind of pushed it from, the story from Mark Christopher Lee in February or something, that he was saying that it was going to happen on July 8th. Apparently it's been pushed and it's going to happen in May, which news to me, like, because I've been tracking this since November.
We're talking also about these coins too, so people know what we're talking about. Like, where did this picture? Did someone fake this, or was this a real picture that was?
I believe she made it with AI.
She did.
Okay.
Fringe did. But the story was just corroborated by Ross Coulthard, by Christopher Sharp, publicly, and others privately that are also on the beat.
So the disclosure story is back on. I thought we put this to bed
in a big way. No. This one has some legs, I think.
You think this is
Chris Sharp is saying that he's heard the same stuff, that there's something to it. Ross has said the same thing. I know we like to get excited, but like this one feels a little bit different. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like, I don't know, might be real, might be something.
Well, I feel like I'm just getting up to speed on all this, so please fill me in, guys. What have I missed? Like, I just heard about the coin. I was like, is that a real coin? And then I'm like, this is all news to me.
The post with the coin says, Fringe said, it's either Jaime or Jamie Walden says he received an intelligence briefing that UFO disclosure from Trump is a, quote, done deal, scheduled for as early as May, and the commemorative coin has already been produced. And then Ross said, I can confirm the commemorative coin story. Heard the same thing. It does appear the administration is planning a limited disclosure, but will President of the United States admit the full legacy UAP program? Doubtful. And then, Chris Sharp even said the same.
Do I have to buy the coin to get the disclosure?
Of course.
I feel like that's coming.
Yes.
Buy the coin. It's a beautiful coin, beautiful disclosure. The truth.
Freedom
costs
coin.
$99.95. That's for the bronze.
And Chris Sharp said, this is my current read on the situation as well. So,
yep.
Wow.
I think I will buy the coin.
Huge.
I need the coin.
They know,
absolutely.
Leave it up to this administration to sell merch.
That's what actually
like
makes
the biggest
it more
moment in
believable.
human history. Like, don't sell a coin. Come on, guys. Just
buy the coffee instead.
Make it. No, don't even buy the coffee. At least the coffee, you can drink it and enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. If this guy hadn't been selling watches like 2 weeks ago, the Trump watch, oh my God, like it's the president. Come on, take it a little more seriously.
I wonder how, pardon the pun, I wonder how majestic he'll plan for a speech like that to be. I mean, I guess it depends heavily on the actual information that that's going to be put forward, but he's watched some films with big presidential speeches, not just disclosure films, not just films about alien
Independence
contact, but any film where the president makes an historic speech. It's like well rehearsed. I mean, the flag will be lowered behind him, and hopefully they pipe in some like inspirational music or something. But I wonder if he really does plan on making this an event, like a world-changing event, like a we go to the moon because in this decade kind of thing, or if it's going to be a knee-jerk response to sort of mask over all the other stuff that's going on at the moment. I guess it really does depend on the depth of the information, but it should be a big moment, regardless of the president.
I agree. I want it to be that moment. I want that moment. I feel like we've earned that by just being in this game long enough, and I feel like that's owed to us as human beings on this planet. Like, we've put up with a lot of shit at this point. If you're going to reveal extraterrestrial life, at least make it a really spectacular moment.
Like, don't go off on tangents. Just read the script that your script writer has written for you.
Have you ever seen him do a speech before? I mean,
well, that's my worry.
Well, your worry is 100% what is going to happen. He's just like, say what you want about the guy, but he's not the guy to make this romantic announcement that we've all thought about since we were kids, of this grand, Bill Pullman, whatever, but any kind of presidential announcement that has love for humanity and the respect of the topic, there's just no chance. And the idea of no tangents, he's going to go off about like, I'm the only one to do this. You don't see Hussein Obama doing. He's going to fuck it up, man. It's going to be a bummer. Yeah. But at this point,
Joe Biden couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Sleepy Joe.
I do have a serious question about this though. How will you react? How will it sound to you? Because I know I don't think there's any secret of the flavor that people have for Trump in this chat right now. I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. But let's say he does a speech word for word perfect, and he delivers it with the courage and respect that you'd expect a president to deliver it with. Will it sound different to you guys, do you think? Truthfully, what do you think it will sound different because it's in his voice?
What do you mean?
I think Sander is alluding to is that I've been very critical of Trump. You've been very critical of Trump, and it just doesn't land equally as if it was somebody else delivering the speech. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering whether the very essence of hearing it in Trump's voice, knowing the how you guys feel about him and the air that seems to be around him at the moment in the political climate and sort of the choices that the American administration is making, will that speech sound different even if it's delivered correctly?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So there's a saying in public speaking that the message is the medium. So it's like how it's presented, right? So, and we see this all the time with bias, right? So if Trump says something and then Biden says the identical sentence, some people are like, oh, what Trump said is brilliant. And other people are like, that's probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard out of Biden's mouth, right? So I think it comes down to bias. If there is going to be a speech, I think it's going to be quite serious. Now, just to back up a minute, they're selling coins and stuff like that. And I know Night Shift already has coffee. If we can somehow get a line of anti-anxiety medication for this, we're all going to be millionaires. Enough of the coffee. That just makes you more anxious.
That's the Night Shift stack. It's 3 pots of coffee and some anti-anxiety, some Prozac.
Yeah, I could find somebody.
Hemp gummies.
I agree. I if I'm honest, it's going to hit different for me, for sure. And my frustration now, but let's take a step back and to be generous. And I'm trying to work with people who I don't agree with here. I would be grateful that he did it. It would mean a lot to me as a human being with an investment in our future as a species and on this planet, that someone finally moved the ball far enough down the field that we could get beyond the is it or isn't it question and just get on with it. That because by just doing that, even if it is Donald Trump who does it, and even if you don't agree with him, and I don't on a lot of things, now we can start to have a different, much larger, much more important conversation about what it is we're all trying to do here, right? Like, what are we trying to do here? What is the project of civilization about? Because now we know, and it's been proven, that there is another group out there that made it farther than us. So we should really stop and pause and just take a beat and examine our situation right now before we fuck it up and think about, like, we could really go far if we had that example to guide us, to look forward to, or just to as an inspiration, even if we don't know much about them. That would be a tremendous boost, and it would change the temperature on the whole world. My concern with a guy like Trump doing it is that he has not demonstrated to anyone, I don't think, but certainly not to me, the capacity for empathy and for
in his entire life, he hasn't.
de-escalation and for thoughtful, deliberate action based on logic and reason and science and understanding, and like think the core goodness of human values that we all share regardless of where you're from or what religion you are. Just that. I don't see that in this guy. What I see is a guy who is hustling, and I see him hustle from Epstein to Iran, from Iran to UFOs, back to this, back to that, and it's not the way that this should be handled. So, if it is him, great. It's got to be somebody, fine. But that's my.
I think I have a great worry. Sorry, Pavel, you go.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about this though. What is making them settle with Trump and not have to wait a few more years for somebody else to do it? What is coming down the pipe that is making them go, it has to be Trump now,
Yeah.
And there's always going to be that reaction from not just people who don't like Trump, people who are against the government narrative and disclosure, which basically started in 2017. They're going to come out stronger than ever against whatever Trump says and whatever anybody from government says. That's a given. But still, regardless of what I think or what you think, Clint, it's still going to be and would be, and even more so if he delivers a perfect speech as Sander poses, it's still going to be the president of the United States saying it, which is basically what we've been asking for.
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, whoever the president is at any given point in time is not everybody's cup of tea. There's no question about that. We all agree that we disagree on all this stuff, and that's fine. My issue is stuff like this, right? Like, this is New York Times. By the way, people think I'm like this super hippie, and I am, but I also read the Drudge Report every day. And, it's one of the places I go to get my news, which is a conservative website. And I do that to keep myself honest, by the way. So this is New York Times from the Drudge Report, actually, and it's on the front page. White House seeks $1.5 trillion for defense in new budget requests. And I'm just showing you this because I want to explain my line of thinking here about how disclosure, this conversation should evolve. $1.5 trillion. This is in their new budget. The United States at war with Iran and embroiled in conflicts around the world. The White House asked Congress on Friday to approve a $1.5 trillion defense for defense in the 2027 fiscal year. If enacted, this amount would set military spending at its highest level in history, and it would amount to a roughly 40% increase from what the United States spent on the Pentagon last year. That's their budget proposal request for the defense of this country right now. Here is the national debt clock. This is the next slide I want to show you. The national debt clock is showing us right here how much we owe as a country. It's almost $40 trillion debt.
Yeah,
Checks in the mail.
The interest payments on this are, let's see, does it say what the interest payments are? It's in the hundreds of billions. It's like every day we spend every day we spend 2.8 billion. on interest, not the debt, that's not the principal. This is just to maintain the $40 trillion in debt. That's what it costs.
And by the way, Trump was just on air saying a few days ago, we can't afford Medicare, we can't afford like all the basic stuff for citizens. And then he goes like, we want 200 billion for the war. It's like, dude.
So here we are. Look at this. 1946. Here's World War II. We dropped 2 atomic bombs. We're the only country in the world to ever do it. We dropped 2 atomic bombs on civilians. We end the war, whether that's right or wrong, you know, whatever. But that's what happens. We're the only country in the world to do this. And then there's this peace dividend. We stopped the military spending. And right in here, 1956, 1966, 1976, 1980. This is that time where your parents are telling you fucking life was awesome. It was great. Oh, man, it was. And one guy could go to work and support a family of 4 and send 2 kids to college and buy a new car. And every year the family could take a vacation. That's all right here, guys. That's this.
Can you imagine?
Here's 1980. I come along December 1980. Here I'm born. And watch this. The rest of, if you're in my generation, this is the rest of your life. Up here, up. 2001. What happens here? 9/11. Boop. Recession. Here's our military spending. We're going right after 9/11. Here's Iraq. Here's Afghanistan. And here you are right in here. This is where we want to be. 2026, right there. So this is projected by 2056. They're saying we're going to be at 200% of our GDP at this rate. So here's the last slide I want to show you. This is the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. These are the people who track global civilizational level risk to humanity, right? Like their assessment is basically a temperature check on how healthy the chances of our civilization surviving the next century actually are. And the current time is 85 seconds to midnight. This is the closest we've ever been to destruction by this panel's judgment. So my point is, we've spent more money than anyone could have ever possibly imagined. We're $40 trillion in debt, and we are paying more in interest than it costs to run a lot of the programs these people are trying to cut every day. And we're worse off than we've ever been by anyone's metric. Like, no matter how you look at it, we're closer to destruction than we've ever been. So my point is that if disclosure happens tomorrow, and if it's Donald Trump who says it and makes it happen, great. But the very next day, the conversation needs to be about, how do we disarm? How do we have a global disarmament, nuclear disarmament program? And where do we spend that money first to help people? How do we improve our situation? Because this shit isn't working.
No chance, dude. And I think that budget, the 1.5 trillion, will be easier to pass with a disclosure announcement, because they can pipe up the fear, and we don't know what's out there. We got to defend ourselves. Like, think about how scared we are of the Middle East, you know, and we know a lot about the Middle East. Imagine the kind of money they're going to ask for to protect us from outer space or different dimensions. It's going to, you know, they're going to use the alien thing to get that money.
This is my worry. Let's say for a second that there is going to be some sort of announcement in May to July, whatever. Given what the world governments are doing right now and continue to do, as if none of this is happening in the background, it kind of presents 3 outcomes that I can't see them doing a pivot on a dime when this speech happens and then everything changes, because he's asking for this much money for the military budget. So it's either the truth, the real truth of it all. Let's say he is going to say everything that we want him to say and be really honest about everything. The reality is that truth must be far less magical or world-changing than we thought, and we've been incredibly naive, or it's far darker and we actually need that military budget. So that's one possibility. The second possibility is that our world leaders, not just Trump, because this has been the case for all presidents that have been involved, that have known stuff about UAP and been filled in on the reality of NHI presence and stuff in the past, they've all had such little time or such little knowledge on the topic that they don't understand the implications of NHI visiting Earth. Like, they just simply don't have time to even think about it. That's, I guess, slightly implausible for supposedly the leader of the free world. Like, you'd think they would have the capacity to think beyond humanity kind of thing. But the third reality, and I think it's the most likely, is that Trump might understand the implications, but the information that is going to be shared in this disclosure is going to be so limited that people won't even pause to consider what it means, because it will feel like such a small announcement. They'll make this the smallest impact that it could possibly be, that it won't really even enter the public discourse, the implications anyway. It won't stop the world, and it will just preserve this pursuit of personal gain. The defense budget will be approved, and the legacy programs will continue to make their money because they won't be acknowledged. But we will know that aliens exist. That's basically it. We won't be told anything else.
What if you just made something click for me? I was one of the when I talked to Thomas Jane, one of the things he said, he was like, he had this really great point. He was like, maybe the deal is, I can't do his voice, but maybe the deal is they give us the technology, but you're not allowed to weaponize it. You're really not allowed to weaponize it at all. And if you do, that's the red line. And then Trump discloses to weaponize it, and then Bledsoe's prediction comes true. They show up and they're like, nope, we told you, you cannot do this. And then they have to come in and stop everything. What if the disclosure that we're about to witness is part of Bledsoe's prophecy?
There's also the darkest timeline that it just reminded me of. And there's that, but Tom DeLonge spoke to Knapp about this in 2016, 15, something like that. I sent you a link to a little snippet where Tom DeLonge discusses that he was given a message. I don't know if it was McCasland or somebody else, but he talks about these beings coming here potentially to destroy civilization every few thousand years, do a reset. And this secret that is being kept, presumably, could be because we're like gearing up towards that moment, you know?
Oh, and they need to roll this stuff out because we've been building our armada to defend Earth.
That's
oh my
why
God, that's some Ender's Game shit. I have.
That's why the
depth
depth is so high.
Don't play it yet. I gotta hit the boys' room real quick. I'll be right back. I just want to see this. Hold on.
Boys' room.
Wow. We're getting doomy a bit early today.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
early.
Yeah.
It's going to
There's a lot
get so
of doom
much
here.
more doomy as well, because there was that one. Is there a tweet or something from later on? There was a link that floated around the last week that I'm definitely going to show as we enter the true doom stages. It's kind of an interpretation of the Bledsoe's prophecy, isn't it?
God,
that really
dude.
freaked me out when I read it. Yeah, we'll definitely hit that up a little later on.
The mushroom cloud thing.
Yeah, we'll hit that when Clint comes back.
Thanks, Cole.
Well, it's Cole, was it? All right, Mr. Justin as well. If you can just because we have this new thing we want to test tonight for Doomer Fridays, and I would really like. I mean, we've just not had time to go through how to actually use this thing that we're going to demo a little bit tonight. You saw it on screen maybe 5 minutes ago, but we basically have a Doom meter that you guys can vote up or down depending on the how the conversation's going. So, Mr. Justin, if you can send me a private message with just anything that I need to say on air to get people to do this, and I'll make sure we do that.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for you. I guess you've not seen it, Eric, but just going back to the S4 doc briefly, did it make you think about Dan Burish in a different way?
No. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Who are you asking, Xander?
All of you. If you've seen the S4 documentary, then
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I did not see it. I think what Dan's going to say is more informed.
I just feel like no. I actually didn't think about Burish. I don't think I thought about him one time while watching it. personally.
Same.
I think I was just so transfixed on what was being told. Now that you mention it, I want to watch it again with that lens. How about you, Xander?
I certainly noticed a lack of painted lines on the floor, because that's in Burish's testimony. Having said that, when you think about it, it actually works very nicely with the idea that Bob was caught, so they increased security. Because obviously there's no way in when you go in either in Bob's story, whereas there is for Burish. But if we're to believe that Bob managed to get out with a piece of element 115, absolutely that could be something they introduced. But then again, Burish is these are all very extremes, like very extreme things to put in place. It was just strange to me that Bob's S4 does look different to Dan Burish's S4.
Well, they were doing different things.
It. They were, yeah. And I was just saying, at least when Bob was there were no lines on the floor.
Yeah. What's interesting? So it's interesting. I didn't want to be the guy to bring Dan Burish up, but since you guys brought it up, I guess we can talk about it. The whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking, this makes Dan Burish's story even more fascinating for me, because here is a guy, parallel case, talking about working in roughly the same place, not on the same project, not in the same part of the same base, but different things. And Bob talked about this a little bit. He said, different teams working on different things. One group was working on materials. One group was working on the propulsion. One group was working on the power source. One group was working on whatever. And he left out the pilot and the crew. Where did they go? There's 3 chairs. Okay, well, someone was working on them. There is a section of that base somewhere, probably. They look like they had everything kind of in that one place. So one of my many questions about the program is, how many locations house this material within the overview, the purview of our program, right? Because you'd want it to be, if you had all your people in one place, you could, it's easier to keep track of everybody. There are constraints, right? So it can't be, 100 bases that all have a craft. It's got to be a few. This is one, have everything there. According to Burish, he's working in a different part of the base. He's working 4 levels underground, and he goes underground to this subterranean place, and then he describes with the same detail. I won't go through it now because I've said it a million times, but the same level. If you're watching Bob Lazar tell his story and listening to his detail about the hand scanner and the nurse's office, the only female, there's no one else around, just one female, and she was the nurse, and this is what she did to my arm, and all of these little details, you cannot write off Dan Burish. That story has every bit as much detail about the same steps that he went through, but for a different program. And it's really weird. The whole time I was like, this makes it even more amazing for me. I'm seeing it in a fresh way. Actually, it helped me kind of put some stuff together because of the way that he described the environment and who he was working with. Like meeting Barry. Burish says a similar thing. He's like, I went in, and at first they have me in like a little, one of those little trailers, that's like parked out in a parking lot. And you go in, and it's a lab, but it's inside of a little trailer. And it's like, here's some slides, here's some basic stuff. Look at it, tell me what you think. And then it's stair-stepping over a period of months from this test to the next test to the next test, until eventually he finds himself in a room with like 5 other guys. And a dude comes in and sits down with them and goes, okay, what do you guys think about this? And he slides some information across, and they're looking at it. And they're in a room by themselves for a period of time, and they go, I think this is some kind of biological weapon thing. I think that's what this is. And they're biologists. They're talking to, they're trying to decipher what they're looking at. They don't really know. And they start to put it together. And then he describes the part where the guy comes back and is basically saying, like, this is the project that we want you to work on. This is what we want you to do. Long story short, it's all of those little minor details. It's not the big details that blow my mind. It's the step by step by step. Like every lab, every workstation is on a weighing plate. Like it has a scale underneath it. You're standing on a weighing station. You can't walk out of that lab with anything in your pockets. Stuff like that. Like these little details, or the things that they told him when he was going into the decontamination process, where they have to basically like strip you down naked, and then they spray a gel on the guys, and then they go in, like how they, just to go into the room. All of these little details. Bob's story, I take it as like foundational bedrock truth in sort of my bigger picture imaginings of what the actual full reality looks like. I start with Bob's story and build on that. And that, I don't know, for me, watching this just gave me a different appreciation of Burish's story.
Since we're talking about people involved, the two names that come up, and by the way, Clint, that was very good. The two names that come up are Dennis Mariani and Barry. Okay, now we know Dennis Mariani was a real person. People have found his grave. It's not that difficult to find out that he was a real person. And I, of course, don't ruin it if it's in the doc, but I'm wondering if you guys know too. Has there been any progress on locating this mysterious Barry?
I don't think
if there
that's
is,
in
it's
the
not in the
film, is
doc.
it?
I don't know.
No, it's not in the film.
I was hoping that would be a part of it. That was my
Yeah.
hope.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a Luigi question or a Jeremy question. Someone must know.
Yeah.
Someone has to have asked.
I mean,
Right.
they just spoke for 3 hours with Joe. Maybe Joe asked.
I feel like at some point that's going to come up if it hasn't
That'd be
already.
great to know.
That would be great to know. That's a great question. Jeez. Yeah, it's a great question.
Even just the confirmation of S4, however, would, for me, be absolutely monumental for validating Bob's story. Because
Yeah.
S4 was literally not known before. Was John Lear mentioning anything about S4 beforehand? Or was Bob literally the first person?
I'm not sure about that. I'm gonna have to
I
look
don't-
that up.
I don't
I assume
think
it's
Lear
either him
mentioned
or
it.
Lear.
Jeremy
I don't think
would
he did
know
either.
that answer for sure.
Yeah.
He would know.
But if S4 was confirmed to exist in any capacity, that would really... I mean, I asked Mick West this. Like, what would that mean? Like, would that at least make his eyebrows raise? And he said no. He said no.
Of course, he's gonna say
Well,
no.
yeah, but that would excite me. I know it wouldn't prove that aliens exist, but it would in some sense corroborate the idea that Bob Lazar knew about S4, and at that point it's like, okay, well, if he knew about it, how did he know about it? He visited.
Burleson is already like going to places, and presumably, if he's gonna try to go to one of these places, he's gonna try and make it to S4. And if he does go and he confirms it, that would be huge, right?
That'd be huge.
But can he confirm? I mean, can you go to a place that's classified and then like just to be there? And then even if you're a member of Congress, can you say that out loud?
He already can either confirm nor deny that he went to Pax River. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's
there's
a classified site.
You know what I mean, though? It's like this whole read between the lines type shit is great. And like we can read between the lines. And I think internally we understand what we think we're looking at more or less. But like we do have to get past that at some point. Maybe that's what, if Trump does disclose, maybe that's what the big shift would be, is you'd actually be able to discuss this. I would, not to go back to that, but just for 1 second, how do you guys think he would? Every president has their own style, right? So, I think they're going to do it in their own way, even if it's a rehearsed moment that's been pre-planned and they know the beats. He's still going to riff on it a little bit. How do you think Trump would spin this? What's his spin going to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll go first. Like, yes, the United States is the country to, we have one. We've had one since Roswell, and we have the most powerful military in the world, and we have technology that you wouldn't even believe. We have shit you can't even imagine. It's fucking magic. Boom, I'm out. And then like,
Great
It's
question.
hard for me to visualize. It's hard for me to visualize the idea of somebody announcing aliens without the world just completely losing its shit. But I feel like I understand some of the implications, but
It's so funny you say that, because I still feel like most people will not care.
Just go about their day.
Yeah, you're right, Dan.
Everyone's going to Instagram about it. Everyone's going to tweet about it. Facebook will be flooded. But then it's like, all right.
You'll get all of the
reality.
people. You'll get all of the people that claim to have been in contact with them saying, see, I told you. And it'll just be really infuriating.
And a lot of the people who were on the fence but secretly convinced, they're going to talk about it more.
You would be, well, I'm saying, I guess my question is like, what kind of shine would you think Trump puts on this so that when he comes out of this speech, like he wants to walk away from this with some kind of reaction from people, not the true, like he doesn't give a shit if you know or don't know. He wants the reaction. So what's the reaction going to be? Like, there are forces out there so fucking powerful that we need a $1.5 trillion defense budget because guess what, people? We've got anti-gravity ships now, and we've been reverse engineering these for 50 years.
I mean,
but now we've got to go, fight the aliens.
We got to look at the facts, though, because I think Trump just lost Alex Jones like 2 days ago, and he was one of his biggest supporters.
He lost Joe Rogan, too.
He's been losing everybody for the last couple of weeks. So it's inevitable that people are going to think he's just doing it to save face and to distract from the shit show that is happening in the Middle East. And honestly, a little less than half of people in the world are just not going to give a shit if he says it. That's just the reality.
Also, to Clint's question, you asked how he's going to, like the other day, he did a speech about Iran the other day. And I think his hope is to walk away as like, rah, rah, here we go. We're doing the right thing. It's almost over. But it, unbiasedly, I mean, and everyone is kind of saying this, it kind of fell completely flat. And I don't think he got out of it what he wanted. So I think what he would like to get out of disclosure announcement is probably not going to be what he actually gets out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And Pavel makes a great point. We discussed it a little. It's just whoever hears it. A brief example, when I worked at a private practice each week, I had a different quote. It was just an interesting quote from somebody. And I eventually had the habit, I would put a Post-it note over who said it.
Okay.
And I'd say, what do you think of this? And a lot of times people were like, that's probably the most brilliant thing I've ever heard in my life. And I peel it off and it was like the founder of Walmart. And they're like, that's the shittiest quote ever. And I'm like, well, just 2 seconds ago, you thought it was like the best thing ever. So yeah, I just think who hears it is going to interpret it differently. And we see this often, and it's interesting. We discussed it, I think, last week a little, maybe we did, where Luna was on Bill Maher, and there was a CNN Democrat strategist. And you could see in the comments, some people were roasting Luna and some people were roasting the CNN liberal, but I thought they both had equally valuable things to say. So it was just interesting. The message is the medium, and in this case, the medium is Trump.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. Go ahead.
What percentage chance would you assign to the idea that maybe they'll frame it as a threat? This is Greer's prophecy.
It seems really heavy for a first speech. I was kind of thinking what you were thinking earlier, where it's just, aliens are real. I mean, because I think that's enough. No?
Well, I think
depends what they're trying to achieve.
There's a great, they say don't let a good crisis go to waste. After 9/11, before 9/11, George Bush's approval rating was 51%. Not great, not bad, 51%. About what you'd expect. Right after 9/11, his approval rating was 81%. And there was a day right after 9/11 where George Bush flew to the site and stood in the rubble and had a megaphone and was giving a speech to the people who were there, the rescue workers and the press and police and first responders. And in that moment, that was the Independence Day kind of moment. That was the moment where if it were a Hollywood movie, that would be the biggest scene. The president comes out and has this moment. And in that moment, the whole world would have done whatever he asked. That is the power of a moment like that. This moment could be bigger. And I'm saying, like, what if you had a coin that was so powerful that if you spent it, you could do anything, but you can only use it once, and you really have to know how to use it. That's what this is. So what is Trump going to buy with this coin? That's what I'm asking. Do you think he's trying to just change the subject? I don't think it would be. I feel like the people around him are too smart to let him just waste. He
wouldn't use it for his own person, because ultimately I don't believe this is a decision that he's made.
Yeah.
I think the legacy program to some degree makes that decision. We were talking earlier before we went live that we're all pretty much of the belief that they've already killed one president for looking around this stuff a little bit too closely, and everybody liked that president. So I am really worried about what the motive is behind it. I mean, whatever pushes the conversation forward, absolutely, but I'm wondering, is there maybe a scenario that pushes it forward in completely the wrong direction that we regret ever pushing in the first place at this, like, if it equals unlimited defense budget, locking down of countries and everybody turning inward, then it's not necessarily the kind of disclosure that's good for us in any way.
How about this? How about the fact that we're seeing so many people push this demons thing? What if in his announcement he sneaks in a little demon talk to fully make this a really Christian country, a really like a super religious country? They use that as a no.
That's actually what worries me the most.
That's fucking awesome, Dan. Yes, that's what we're looking for here. Yes, that is a great question. Would he do that? Yes, I think he might.
I mean, after the assassination attempt on him, if you buy into everything that happened surrounding that, you could think that he like became more religiously oriented after that, and believes that he's like part of some big plan that is divine, all that shit. That's what worries me the most. Like that there is not Trump. It's people in high positions of power who believe that this is a prophetic event.
Right. People who know the value of that coin we just talked about. People who really know. To your point, Xander, the last president that everybody liked really was trying to pursue, or wanted to, one of his goals was to pursue a disarmament plan and to basically try to find a way to peacefully cooperate with the Russians in a way that didn't involve killing everybody on the planet. And we probably would have gotten disclosure from a president like that, someone like that, if not him. He was killed. So let's assume the bad guys won. What would their version of disclosure look like if they could do it their way? Because that might be what we're about to see.
Yep. Tech oligarchs
Precisely
and
right.
Christians taking over the conversation.
There's the bunker there's a new bunker under the White House, and it just makes my shit itch. I worry. I really do, because these are the people that supposedly have the knowledge that we're about to possibly find out, and yet they're still asking for these trillions of dollars. They're still building bunkers. If they knew that the world was about to change for the better, you wouldn't bother building a bunker.
And you'd spend money like it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Because it's not, and it doesn't really matter. Like,
no one's ever going to open up we need to open up the Doom meter.
The Doom meter, by the way, that Mr. Justin has been working hard at work on this Doom meter, and he has been on me to get him something to help finish. He's like 4 projects in the fire right now. And
so you got him cocaine?
No, I need some amphetamines. No. But I don't. I hope I'm not holding back the project too much. Can we show it again? Where was the Doom meter?
So here it is, and I believe Justin, you may be able to open this up. And basically, if you go to doomafriday.com and sign in, you can vote basically based on how you think the conversation is going.
Oh, you can vote on the Doom.
Yes.
Oh yeah. We don't control the. It's not that doomy.
Fuck. Okay, coming down.
Are we going? It's going down.
Come on,
my
guys.
God.
Come on, guys.
Apparently,
More Christian theology, guys. More Christian theology.
Demons!
Wow, this is awesome.
Oh
my God.
Okay, we're
Wow.
at 9.
Man,
When
How
do we
does
get
it
to
go?
threat level midnight?
Yeah.
that just made my day.
Is there a threat level midnight?
There should be.
Oh, it's got to be.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh
man.
wow,
Ooh.
Oh wow,
Right, this
that's
is-
so cool.
This is
unbelievable!
so funny.
Wow.
All right,
This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's
Oh my
great.
God.
Question for you guys, because we're talking about if they do a limited disclosure of aliens are real, then you have people like Luna and Burchett and Burleson who have been putting in all this time talking about crash retrievals and body recovery. How are they going to respond if we get some weak ass like pussy disclosure when they know that we have a lot more going on than that? But their guy just did this announcement. Will they slow down their fight, or will they just push?
If their response to the war is any indication, I would be worried.
do you
Yeah.
mean?
Because
Well-
they were like agreeing on everything with Trump when it comes to the war. What if the same thing happens if he reveals like a weak ass disclosure? Yeah, it is worrying because they've agreed with him on pretty much everything. They praise him at every chance they get.
The war
know,
is
so-
different though, because this war there's definitely another party involved here that is benefiting from this war, and it's not the United States. And those folks have a pretty good stranglehold on Congress. But I think, and I'm talking about Israel, of course, but I think the UFO subject is separate enough that they can be a little more bullish on that. I would hope. Burchett seems to be pretty straight up about what he thinks Trump will or won't do. You know, I don't get the impression that Burchett is in the business of lying for other people, you know, and it just seems more like and this is the thing that I remind people of this all the time, and I try to pass this message along for both sides, is that, the people on both sides of the political spectrum are just people, right? Like, it's not just red versus blue. It's too simple. And we got to get away from all that. Like, yeah, I can disagree with the president, and I can also agree with some other Republican, people on different things. It's like, it's complicated. So I think Luna and Burchett, whatever, your disagreements about the war and whether or not we should be in it, and I don't think we should be in it. I do think that they would be autonomous enough and have enough self-interest and enough support from people in our community that they feel like, yeah, they can keep moving on this, and they need to push harder on it. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's the silver lining, is like the conversation starts and then Congress gets involved and we start to actually have some civilian oversight and, maybe a healthy discussion about what we know and don't know and how we should handle that information.
Yeah, very well put. That's a good question, Dan. I anticipate this speech, if it's going to happen, to be quite short. There's like no Q&A, right? It's just going to kind of ease us into it. Luna and Burleson in particular have been really good at communicating, and Burleson did a really good job the last interview with Jeremy and George. He's kind of like, it's a process, because people will ask, why don't you just go there? And he's like, that's not how it works, And same with Luna. Burchett is a bit more outspoken, throwing out a lot of Dan gums. But I think they're going to be very patient, and it might have been Clint that said this earlier. I mean, any president who comes out and says, "Hey, this stuff, yeah, it's real," I mean, that's enormous. But then again, I also agree with you. You know, Paul said half the people on the planet won't care. Fact check, true. And Dan, you were saying people are going to put it on Facebook and then go pick up their kids. Fact check, true, right? So it could be momentous. It's just, I think there's going to be a lot of different responses, and one is just going to be, aw shucks, and people go about their days. I think we'll have a bigger reaction because we already know it's a really big deal.
Sure. I also think that when I said that the public wouldn't care, I think that's true and then I was thinking, like, let that sink in with the world for a second, and then people start like researching stuff, and then maybe once the public finds out that we have recovered craft and bodies, that might actually light some kind of interesting fire in society. Once people get caught up to the 80 years of stuff that everyone in this room and everyone watching has learned over the years, it might in a couple of years become a really big topic.
I would also, just to piggyback off of that, you're 100% on that. This is a great reason for people to show other people. Like, if you have family visiting, or if you're like, you know, talking to your friends in a group chat or something, and you want to recommend a film for people to see, tell them, if you really want to wake them up to what's going on, tell them to watch S4. This could be a course. This is like a class. It's like a master class on what's going on. If you want to get brought up to speed, I take it as fact. What Bob says, I believe his story, and I believe that this documentary is the most accurate representation of his story. So if you start with that, and that's your jumping off point, the questions, like, for example, there's a scene in here where he's describing the way the craft flies, and he's like, in Delta configuration it can do this, and an Omicron configuration, and there's 3 different configurations, but the third configuration is when it goes into orbit and then travels from Earth to another star system, which I think he says is what did he say, it was 34 light years away?
I think so.
It's 32 or 34. Oh, Chris,
You're
thanks,
crazy,
man.
Chris.
Crazy Chris Ramsey, dropping in a little bit of that magic, that Area 52 magic. Thanks, man. What a guy.
Good man.
Hey, by the way, and I've new Chris Ramsey Area 52 stuff here. I've got my skiff hat, and I've got my
Love that. That's awesome.
Invisible College hat, I'm taking
awesome. One of those.
Hell yeah. The skiff hat rules.
Where was I? Just lost my train of thought. We were talking about
good reason to watch S4.
Oh, good reason to watch S4. So he's talking about the craft goes into orbit, and when it travels from one star system to another, and they had, at least at the time that he was there, based on the information he saw, they knew more or less where these beings had come from. The origin of the craft was known to them, the distance and the star system and the planet. And it goes into a mode where it literally creates like a gravity well in front of it, and it jumps, like the jump to light speed in Star Wars, literally like that. But it has to do it multiple times. There's a cooldown, so it can only jump so far, and then it has to stop, and then it cycles, and then it jumps again. And that's how they travel from place to place, at least the people who designed this craft and the way they built it. So when you see that and you go, oh my God, like, if this is real, and if your gut tells you when somebody is being honest and telling the truth, like, it'll speak to you. When you watch Bob, you'll know. If you don't have the most enormous fundamental curiosities about what is possible, like where we could go and the things it literally makes all science fiction available to you as a realistic possibility. Like, anything you can imagine becomes possible. It's
jump around like that. We're talking orders of magnitude more power than the Earth consumes in a year. The whole Earth consumes in a year. We're talking thousands of times more of that than that in a single moment, to be able to propel yourself even halfway across the galaxy. maybe a tenth of the way across the galaxy. Is like these aren't even in the word power and power. They're two different things.
Yeah,
they're not the same. It's like you need a new word for it. It's completely different, and that's the whole. This is so if Trump says aliens are real, people need to ask the question: how do you know? And if he answers that question, that's when we say, well, how did they get here? So this is why I find it so difficult to get my head around how he navigates this conversation without it ending in everyone very quickly realizing that we have universe-changing technology on our hands. If he admits Roswell happened, then he admits that we've been in possession of a craft with that level of capability for decades. And then people just need to know. That's all it is.
Then you have to say, okay, like when Lazar's describing the inside of the craft, right? And he's talking about the walls. And he's like, there's an arch. It's a disc. And so if you stand in the middle of it, it's round. And then there's the roof is a dome, and each wall is, or each section is like a archway. And then Barry, he's always fucking around. Somebody pushes a button.
Barry, dude.
Fucking Barry makes this thing. They do something. I don't even think he knows what they did. He's like, we did something, and the thing just goes transparent, as clear as if it weren't even there. Not even clearer than glass, just transparent. And then half of it lights up, and it's text. It's written text. It's some kind of characters that he's never seen before. It's written text displayed on the screen. So we have beings that takes at least three of them. I mean, there are three seats in the craft. So we know that for one reason or another, at least three of them were in this craft. They read stuff the way we read it. It's written down for them. I mean, information is transmitted in writing. They have a system of writing. It's present in their craft. It's programmed into the craft, has some data storage happening in it, right? So it's not just a solid material. There's something else. There's some computation taking place or something. And he describes the process that they know how to jump from Earth to their star system. It's feasible that we could have already had an exchange program going back and forth for decades now. Like all of these questions go on the table the very next day. Are we talking to them? What are they telling us? How do we communicate? How many different species are we actually dealing with? This is just one. I mean, there's got to be more than one. And there's no way you roll the dice on disclosure unless you're ready for that. So there's got to be. I don't know. My sense would be there would be a bigger plan for it than just changing the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be a team. If there's an announcement, there should also be like, and here's our 4-person team or staff that will be here to answer your questions. This is a physics expert. This is a biology expert. Here's our disclosure team. So it's not just him giving the information either. Having some professionals backing him up would be helpful too.
The DTF.
There you go.
But
yeah, Disclosure Task Force.
But I don't. I have to disagree, Dan. I don't think they're going to let any questions be asked because rule number one
eventually.
As pardon?
I meant eventually, not maybe not like at the announcement, but like in the following weeks, possibly.
Okay, got it. Yeah, misunderstood. You know what? The last thing a politician or his team wants to say is, "I don't know." So I think it's going to be a long time until they say questions. Because, do they mean us harm and you don't have an answer? That's really bad, let alone, where are they from? Yeah, I think it's going to be a slow rollout. And Clint, you might have been saying it. I just because let's say they have this disclosure announcement coming, I think they've got the rest of it planned out already. So you don't get caught with your pants down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like another way it could be, I could see this like, yes, it's real, but it's okay because we've had them since Roswell. We know how they work. We make them. Half of the shit you see is already shit that we made. Like they could just come right out and say it. And like we have a secret space force that is like We've got the space fleet. If it keeps them on top, if it positions the United States in a position of power and prestige, it would have to accomplish all of those things. They wouldn't do it to like give up any kind of control or power. It has to further that whole process. So I would imagine. I like that thing. Pavel, was it you who just said that? Or no, Dan, you were saying about the demon thing. If you come out and if you endorse the demon thing, you give the Christian right some red meat.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
We'll see. At
a time when people are looking at like weird biblical apocalypse vibes and trying to interpret what's happening, that could be really powerful as a psychological weapon.
It's a good segue into something.
Before we move on, just when you were saying that, Clint, about us having our own craft, our own reverse engineered stuff, that people do not want him to mention that part of it, but he also has a history of oversharing and talking about things that probably shouldn't be said out loud. It'll be very interesting if he talks about the fact that we have made our own, and that will piss off a lot of people that he probably doesn't want to piss off.
I'm counting on that.
Well, yeah, because then you have to go, okay, well, what are we doing in Iran then? Like, for every Marine who gets shot, for every, every service member who doesn't want to be there, who doesn't understand why we're there, who doesn't really have any stake in this outcome one way or the other, and was just fine, and a couple of weeks ago was sitting at home with their family, and now they're deployed and getting shot at by some really serious fucking people who are prepared for it and ready to defend their lands. Like, these guys this is not a joke to them, whatever it is to us. These people are going to be coming home in body bags, and America's not ready for that. Like, Americans won't put up with that. I think this is going to get really nasty. So if you disclose in the run up to that, and you don't have a plan to like end this shit tomorrow, I don't see how you are not opening up an enormous can of worms there. It just seems like a bigger mess than anybody would want to deal with.
Yeah, if you have people's like children, men and women being killed, and knowing that this technology that can keep them from being killed, it's going to be a like revolution in the streets kind of stuff, I think.
And what's the price of a barrel of oil right now? Is it $1.13? What are we at on oil?
What do you mean? He just told us that we're self-sufficient. We have more oil than anyone in the world and not to worry about it.
Oh, there you go. Case closed.
I mean, they did just steal a bunch of oil from Venezuela.
Well.
Thieves.
Yeah, there's that. That's interesting.
And that's 12. The largest.
Trump has to be so careful. Whoever announces would have to be so careful about admitting to the use of any advanced technology. So careful, because if you get to the question of, well, how are you doing that? How do you get that level of power to defy what our known physics are? Because we already know what levels of power are required to do the things that, like the TR-3B are alleged to be able to do.
Right.
And it's not a small amount. It's many times the output of the United States in a single day. And that's in one maneuver. Who was it at was it Seoul conference that the Knuth talked about the levels of power required to somebody's just switched on the Doom meter, I think. It's going nuts as well.
Can we put that up?
I get sound effects in my. I think you heard them earlier, didn't you?
I like the sound effects there also.
Yeah, it's. What was I saying? Yeah, it's Kevin Knuth was talking about the levels of power required to just get you, 10,000 feet in less than a second. It's ridiculous how much power you need. And if we're talking about using that in open warfare in any way, in any capacity, then that instantly becomes the most prized possession on Earth, and everybody knows what it is, where it is, and how it's operating. And everyone's going to want it. This is more powerful than the nuclear weapon by, again, orders of magnitude more powerful. So even admitting anything technology related just completely destroys the petrodollar like overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think if there's
what if you have Trump coin?
I mean, they've already been bombing the fuck out of like every oil depot in the Middle East. And it feels very intentional. And it goes both ways. Like they're destroying everything. Um, I don't know. Maybe sounds a little bit too optimistic, but what if? Like this is how they're gonna try and roll it out. If there's anything in terms of the new type of energy source, they would have to destroy everything for people to agree to switch, the powers that be. And I know it's wishful thinking. I know.
Well, it just seems like the situation is so complicated already, right? Like no one wants this war. There's no way to spin this that it's positive. Like there's no way to sell this. No one's buying this fucking war. And even the people who think they aren't, because I mean, look at the last 3 or 4 wars. Like they all cost a fortune more than we thought they were going to cost. They take forever. No one believes this is going to be like over in 2 weeks. So you've got all of that. If you came out in the midst of this and said you had this world-changing announcement you wanted to make about like something that's so earth-shattering, I imagine the outcry from the rest of the world would be immediate and overwhelming. They would be like, whoa, no, you guys certainly shouldn't have this kind of power. The United States is like, what are you going to do to the rest of us if that's what kind of dominance you have? So then you put China in a position, or Russia, where they have to, are we going to find ourselves in some kind of arms race again if we're not already, in this, I guess, a quiet Cold War over this technology? Does that just become a new Cold War that we're living under? Like we've got it, but so do the Chinese. So we can't use it because if we use it, they'll use it. And now we're back to
worse.
The X factor, of course, is the NHI. What do they do?
Right.
Well, that's perhaps an even better segue into maybe a different interpretation to Bledsoe's prediction, if we want to show that on screen. I'll share that. Hold on.
This one
This,
Can you
this
show
gave me
the
chills.
boomer meter while you read that? I'm kidding.
Oh yes, that's this. Let's put this Doomer meter to work.
So before we do, let's read this.
Well, do you want to set this up, Xander?
So this is just a post on Reddit. It's just an interpretation of Bledsoe's prediction. So if you don't know Bledsoe's prediction by now, I'll just tell you very quickly. I think the exact wording was on the, not the exact wording. I'm going to have to paraphrase it. When the red star of Regulus, even though it's a blue star, rises in the gaze of the Sphinx, or as Bledsoe would call it, the Sphinx, that will symbolize the ushering in of a new knowledge, something along those lines.
But new knowledge is an important phrase in this context.
Yeah. So basically, somebody on Reddit very poignantly pointed out this. So are we sure the Bledsoe prediction is referring to an astronomical event? Oh, there's the exact... Here we go. When the red star of Regulus is on the horizon before daylight in the gaze of the Sphinx. The Regulus 2 was a cruise missile with a nuclear warhead, and it was discontinued, but I wouldn't exactly be shocked if a later model was still in use but undisclosed for security reasons. Also, nuclear warheads last for decades. It might have been discontinued, but we probably still have a few lying around. I don't know if it's fair to call a mushroom cloud a red star rising, but the imagery isn't exactly far off. In the gaze of the Sphinx, Israel is due east of Egypt in the gaze of the Sphinx. This would tie in a little more clearly to the stories of NHI intervening in nuclear events, the aerial school children's predictions, what the message they received, disarming bombs. Obviously, it's pure speculation, of course, but we love speculation. And yeah, the mushroom cloud, when you imagine it rising over the edge of the horizon, I like it.
I don't.
Yeah. That That's creepy because yeah, I could. That made me stop and think.
Thank you, Cole.
Yeah, thanks, Cole. That was 85 seconds to midnight.
Oh, yeah,
85 seconds to midnight.
There's awkward silences of doom, huh?
What do you think, Dan?
It's an interesting take. It's an interesting take. That I have no thoughts more than that. It's terrifying. And then we were talking about it last night in the chat, or this morning in the chat. Have you guys heard of the Samson option?
What's the Samson option?
No.
Is that a luggage?
Oh, yeah, Samsonite. I was way off.
Samsonite option.
No, I was way off. The Samson option apparently is a plan that Israel has that if they feel like they are about to collapse or about to be destroyed, they will launch all of their nukes against all of their enemies to make sure that this thing is fucking over with for everybody. And that seems to be Israel's plan, is something called the Samson option.
Wow. That's heavy.
Yeah. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know it was named that, but I heard about that before. Not cool.
Israel doesn't have a first strike policy, does it? Because it doesn't even officially recognize that it has nukes yet.
Yeah, they're
America
supposed
doesn't
to not have nukes.
But people think they have 80. People think they have 80 to 200 warheads, though. That seems to be the idea.
Right. Well, that's enough.
That's
and
enough.
America has thousands, and also no firsts. They don't have a first strike policy either, do they? So America takes the same position as Russia, where they basically don't talk about what their strategy is nuclear wise, because that itself is the deterrent.
Sure,
right.
But we have a guy now.
Well, I was just going to ask this question to you guys: do you think the doomsday option, right? Like every country has a doomsday. We've all got a doomsday plan. I think one of the Russian ones is they have nuclear weapons that are buried all over the world, like underground. They can just set them off, right? They're like hardwired together. There's no way to disarm the system. And it's sometimes you hear about a version of this where it's like a dead man switch. If there's no one there to turn it off, then it's a automatic doomsday weapon. Do you think those stories are ghost stories? Are there actual operational plans in place? And do you think there are people who are willing to follow through with those orders to destroy the whole world if given that directive?
It just makes no sense to me that unless they're being driven by some external force, that people in power would just want to watch the world burn. What would they get out of it? Like, they're getting richer because of how many people there are in the world. They control them. That's what they want. I don't think they want us completely gone, like all of us. It sounds kind of stupid to me to think about that. But, as I told you, the caveat, unless they're being controlled by some external force, which is entirely possible too.
Or when you're dealing with superpowers, usually the person in charge is a bit of a narcissistic egomaniac, and that's all of them. Think about if they're backed into a corner and they feel like they're about to be either captured or embarrassed or whatever. Like if Hitler had a nuke and they were closing in on Hitler's bunker and he knew that he
would have dropped it.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the incentive. So if you're going to try to capture me, I'm going to destroy the world. I can absolutely see a few countries being willing to do that.
I feel like North Korea is like that, right?
Russia?
Russia, well, I mean, yeah, this is the thing, right? It's like
Israel.
You've got the ability to end the whole world, but you would die first. So it's almost like a big fuck you after the fact, right? Like, it just seems like this is the kind of shit that I'm sure the NHI are like, are you guys for real? Like, you have fucking doomsday weapons on your own planet. You have one planet. You can't even care for this fucking planet. And you want to come out and deal with the rest of the galaxy, and you want to experience being a part of this community. you shit in your own fucking food. Like, you guys are just primitive goofballs, and you won't stop fighting each other. You just can't even like get past that shit. So this idea of like, you know, once you disclose in any way, there's no way that, I mean, even if you spun it as hard as you could in whichever direction you want to spin it, I mean, it still comes back to the question of, is this the best way to run a society? Is this the best way to run a planet? Are these the best people to be in charge?
I think this might be a good time to play that clip from Tom DeLonge that I gave you a little while ago, because it speaks to this.
Just before we do, I do think there's also possibly an element of, I don't want to quote the Joker, even though it's a great quote, but I think some people really want to see it happen, just because the people, and the worryingly, it's the people that are pretty close to pushing the buttons. The people that are in, they're military men, and I think some of them just want to see those missiles fly. They want to see the awe-inspiring power that it would demonstrate. They want to actively see that level of destruction, purely because they think it would just be really cool to see, as childish as that sounds.
Like an arsonist.
Yeah. And that's terrifying. I think that's a
Wes Decker,
that's
what he's referring to, I think.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I think I think it's a secret desire for a lot of people. I think it probably carries more weight than we think.
A secret desire to a death wish for
just
like
to see what it looks like, man. Just to see what it looks like, to see the nukes flying.
Yeah.
Like the Joker.
Yeah, but just to see them going up into the sky and being like, well, that's it. I've got 6 minutes left.
Isn't that what
Fireworks.
the movie, what's the Christopher Walken movie, where he can touch somebody and see their future? He's
Prophecy?
not Prophecy. That's where he's a warlock. That's a great movie. I love that movie. Wow, Prophecy's great. Deep track, deep cut.
You.
No, they made a series based on it. It was based on a Stephen King book, and he's psychic.
The Dead Zone. The Dead Zone.
Dead Zone. And isn't that the one with Martin Sheen as the president in the movie?
Is it?
And he goes crazy, and he decides that he's like he has to fulfill a prophecy, and the way he fulfills that prophecy is by launching the nukes, and he's the guy. Someone's got to be the guy to do it, right? So like that's what's so scary about a lot of this Christian fundamentalist talk, is because these guys are fucking serious. They're dead serious. They're all the way serious as a fucking heart attack. They want the end of the world to happen because that's when Jesus comes back. You cannot get from here to there without a third world war. So they're playing it like a game, and they have to hit this beat or we don't get to the next step. So for these folks, which have an extraordinary amount of influence over our government and our foreign policy and our warfighters and our warfighting machinery. Good God, they are those people, Xander. You're right. I think you're right.
No.
There's definitely an element of it.
It's a piece of it, for sure. You know?
Whatever.
I can play that clip.
No, but they hire the complete opposite people. You don't have people who can launch these things who have a hint of being homicidal maniacs. They hire the opposite people, right? So that's, I'll have to tell you guys a story afterwards. I can't tell you, but I have a good example where somebody was asked to do something and didn't, and it was on that scale. I just don't think that's possible. I just politely disagree.
I'm not. That is great news. I'm not trying to make the case that people who are conservative or in the military and are from a conservative background are therefore crazy. I'm not saying that. Yeah. What I am saying is that like I've watched this woman, Trump's spiritual advisor, get up and say gobbledygook nonsense fucking bullshit that I wouldn't sit there and listen to a Scientologist, rattle on about goofy nonsense for any amount of time. And it's the same thing. And then you've got these people who are like in leadership positions who really are following. I mean, this isn't just me saying this. This is the whistleblowers from inside the program basically saying, look, the Collins elite, that's a real group. The family, that's another real group. You know, there are some fundamentalist Christian groups that have outsized influence in Washington, and they do believe in a prophecy that they are trying to help execute. That's not to say anything. I'm not saying anything about the military chain of command, like all the way down. Like there's a lot of steps and a lot of people have to follow orders to execute all that stuff. Of course, there's no question. And those people are highly competent. And I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying leadership has lost their fucking minds. And I can just see that. Like we don't have to look too hard. It's.
I mean, just look at Hegseth's rhetoric over the last month.
Oh my God.
There is an element of pleasure that he seems to be taking in bombing people. The way he talks as if he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Right. But this is, you know, again, it's an uncomfortable conversation, but it's at the heart of the question. It's at the heart of, it really is the core of everything. We're talking about, you know, how we treat fellow humans, how we look at the world. What is your worldview? Because this answer, if it does come from an official source like the president, that is going to be a new data point for people to incorporate into their worldview. And if at the end of the day it winds up making it worse and we're more violent and more intolerant of each other and more hateful and hurtful, then wow, we've lost. You know, that's the worst possible outcome. I would hope, and that's why I am, you know, curious about this whole question of how religion plays into it, and what are the, you know, the Chinese are going to see it differently than the Americans, and they're going to have a different take, and there isn't room for just one narrative here. I don't know.
Depends on the world, on the country's philosophy, how they will take it, I guess.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Should we listen to this clip?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Can wonder sometimes, is that the case? And the longer people are in this field, some of the colleagues that I work with over the years, the people whose opinions I respect the most, all sort of gravitate to that position. Hey, maybe this is not such a good idea because this stuff could be profoundly disturbing to get the full picture, that we might be an agricultural product, that there is some kind of entity that might as well be a god, or the, you know, I'm thinking about the stories of Skinwalker Ranch that we've written about, where this thing at best is ambivalent, but it can do all kinds of stuff. It seems to feed off of fear. It can be very dark and threatening at times. I remember laughing at people who would say, it's not aliens, it's demons. I couldn't laugh anymore. I'm not so sure about that.
There is a very, very strong link between what people think demons are from the Bible and other religions, and the UFO phenomenon. And what you have is something that doesn't like man, period, and something that feels either jealous of or has some kind of plan for what man is to be. And that just makes it that much worse when you think about it. I have a quote here I should read you. It says, and this is from one of the advisors: would the link of aliens creating man, who then created God to keep us in our place, be something worth keeping secret? Mind you, secret with a K, which is how we do secret machines. So I think so. We're talking about the biggest institutions on the planet and the world's major religions. It's bigger than just the big bad U.S. government, and going back to the Greeks and including Russians and Germans make it sufficiently global across centuries. Maybe evidence of disappeared ancient cultures, Easter Island, the Maya, the Inca. That's evidence of what happened for those who did not obey, thus encouraging the secret to be kept. And could the story evolve from how different groups of men exploited this technology to see how the entire secret is uncovered, rewriting world history and shattering many of our most well-regarded holy institutions, except this time when they come to wipe us out like the other ones, we are actually ready for them. And that readiness is another example why things have been kept quiet for so long and has been a strange international partnership.
Yeah.
How old is that?
2016,
2016.
a decade old. That's from Coast to Coast AM, one of the interviews that Tom did with George. And it makes me think of John Keel's Disneyland of the Gods, or Salvador Freixedo's We Are a Farm. That's a book that he wrote. And they all, like, all the old guys from like the 70s and 80s, they all started like really curious like us. And then when they started going forward and investigating the phenomenon more, pretty much like across the board, they ended up thinking that we are some sort of resource hub for whatever is like controlling this whole thing.
George Knapp is one of the most knowledgeable people on this topic, I think, of all time. Of any researcher, I think he's in the top 5 probably as far as knowledge. And I find it very interesting. I've said this before, how often he brings up us being a resource or a food source. He said it like 3 or 4 or 5 times publicly. And why does he keep saying that? And again, he's one of the most informed and knowledgeable people on this topic that there's ever been.
Yeah.
And it's Bob that calls us containers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. This is my dad's favorite theory. There were food. And I was like, I resisted it for so long. I'm like, it just sounds too corny.
But it could be
Food?
it could be physical food, or it could be like emotional food, like feeding off of darkness. And maybe that's why war is pushed so much, because they feed off that whatever is put out by fear and anxiety. I mean, it's so dark and weird and sci-fi, but maybe it's
Who was it?
It's David Icke's take.
Was it okay, so David. That's just, Ramsey, I gotta talk to you about David.
Just so you know, I'm gonna have to go very short. I'm
Not
gonna have
again.
to go personally very shortly, but you guys are welcome to, obviously. You should guys
Do you have to
carry on.
leave? Wow, man.
Yeah, we've been going for 2 hours. It's 8 o'clock for me.
Oh my God.
It's
We've
Good
been going
Friday.
like 3 hours. Okay.
Yeah, I
fine.
know.
You want to be a
But,
quitter?
yeah,
I mean,
on this one occasion. But anyway, David Icke,
producer.
carry on.
I was just gonna say, Dave. My only thing about David Icke is that he speaks in specifics, but somehow when it's over, I feel like I know less than I started with, and I'm somehow more confused. But my basic read of David Icke's concept is that if you could see what a full spectrum human looked like, we're not just a physical body. There's like this energy field, right? And the physical body is just one layer of that onion, but there's this whole other field. And that's what these beings are interested in. That we're what we consider the body would be just like one aspect and not the most important aspect. And maybe what it is that they're farming or feeding on, to your point, Dan, is something that we generate or put, I don't know, like a field. But then you hear this. Who's the other guy that said? There's another guy. I'm sorry to interrupt, but just one last thought on this. There's a guy who is one of those early whistleblowers, and he was like, "It's reptilians live below the earth, and they actually eat people, and they eat kids, and that's one of the they like young kids because they're young, and that's for delicacy or something." And they were going on and on in this video about it's food. So they get people from war zones and from caravans, and they, people with no documentation, no paperwork, and they disappear them. And in exchange for us letting that happen, we get something in return.
Yep. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, exactly that.
Sorry.
Well, we might find out soon.
No, not at all. No.
Anyway, guys, I have to go, but yeah, carry on, and I'll listen to the rest when I can.
Okay, bye.
There's a video game that
Take care.
Justin said that it's like we can show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Lysander.
I'll link it in the private chat, and then you guys can share it.
Let's hear it for Xander Jones, everybody.
Xander
Thank you,
Jones.
Xander. We
Everybody.
love you.
I've still got to
in
find
the
the
chat.
link and then share it, so I might be here for another 30 seconds. So.
Go over to Dreamland
It's a
Motel,
long
subscribe. Let's
That's
all
a
show
long
Dreamland
goodbye.
Motel some love.
I plan to
Long
start
goodbye.
live streaming as well very soon, so we get
Hell yeah.
some actual relaxing, what I call relaxing ufology, but in real time, where you can hear me making loads of mistakes as I try and recite some sort of obscure document with accuracy, and I struggle. I'm not actually a good reader, but anyway, here's the link to the game that Justin has made. Honestly, Justin has knocked this out of the park. We need to iron out how to incorporate it more into the show, but that Doom meter is genius.
Beautiful thing.
It's brilliant. Right, I'm gonna go, but yeah, I'm gonna send you the link now, and have a good evening.
Bye, beautiful.
Bye,
Hi,
Xander.
Sander.
Let me see here. Private.
Now we can finally have a good time.
I'm not seeing that link. Did he put it in the private chat?
I'm not sure where he sent it. Maybe he sent it to you on.
There it is. Okay, here we go. All right. Here we go. So this is Doomer Friday the game. This is Mr. Justin. Okay, so Mr. Justin needs to come on the show. We need to get Mr. Justin to show up here and
100%.
just
Yeah.
explain this, because is it Operation Signal Lost? Okay. Oh my God. He made a game. Doomerfriday.com/play. Play now. It's free. Okay.
Pilot a UFO? That sounds fun.
5 directed energy weapons: standard Orma, Stardust, Red Mercury, White Orb. What? 3-tier. Acknowledged. This is the briefing.
This
That
is like
is
our
crazy.
Eagles Obey.
Doom mode, audio toggle in settings if you dare. Version updates. Okay, acknowledge. Pilot your UFO and survive as long as possible. Score in parsecs. Dodge asteroids and satellites. More DEW hits to destroy. Okay, rescue astronauts. Hold boost to zone to double UFO speed. 3-second cooldown. Okay, all right, here we go. How do I start? Field guide. What?
Whoa. This is so elaborate.
I'm just gonna go for it. Here we go. Begin.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Whoa!
Yeah. Like the
How do you-
Fender.
Wait, but
The
what do
music
I?
is so good.
Good, get it. Hell yeah, dude. Get it.
This soundtrack is awesome. Element 115. How do I fire? Can I
Space
shoot?
bar to boost. Space bar to boost.
Oh! I see.
Oh,
Whoa.
look out! Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, guys, this is really good. Oh, that was close.
I want to see what happens when you crash. Hit something.
Left click. Left click.
Left? Oh,
Left.
Oh,
Oh!
damn it.
Oh,
Wow.
that was
Dude, that's
Cool.
fun.
Justin.
Wow.
wow.
No hope.
No hope.
Wow, that's great, man. Wow, live hub and Doom vote. So this is the live. Wow, our first fan site, guys. This is crazy. Mr.
Amazing.
Justin.
That's
Wow.
really impressive.
This is unbelievable. Vote without leaving the stream. During live voting round, scan the QR code on the stream or navigate directly to the vote page. Votes are counted in real time and reflected on the Doom meter immediately. Wow.
I don't think Justin has slept in 3 weeks.
No, I don't think he sleeps. He has a family and a job.
He takes Adderall. I'm kidding. I'm joking, Justin. I'm joking. He says sleep is for losers.
How? So wait, I want to vote. All right. So all right, Doomer, home. Oh wow, all our action figures. Wow, Eric. Someone has to ask if any of this is actually true. Eric, is that someone principled, measured, and perpetually outnumbered, but consistently the one they wish they'd listen to? Oh, that's great. Dan, what does yours say? Yeah, silver-haired, black leather jacket, guitar within reach at all times. Dan is the variable that makes every episode unpredictable. Wild card. No topic is
within reach at all times. Within reach at all times.
Nice.
No topic is too tangential if it's interesting enough. That's great. Wow. Pavel has sources. He won't say where. He has information that he delivers with unsettling confidence. Whether any of it is verifiable is beside the point. He's usually right. Oh my God, this is the best. Xander, the reason any of this works. That's so true. Xander runs the operation from behind the scenes and occasionally in front of the mic when the situation demands it, quietly responsible for everything. You can always tell when Xander isn't around because that's when we completely fall on our ass within the first 5 minutes. It's great. When Clint speaks, the room listens, whether it wants to or not. Commanding presence, no sleeves, and an opinion on everything classified. The backbone of the operation. Wow,
and
that
the
shirt
guns.
is awesome.
And the guns.
That's amazing.
Guns not included.
Guns not included. I gotta get my glasses. That's great. We all need accessories and like little sidekicks, like a little dinosaur robot, something. I don't know.
Fantastic.
These are great. Top agents.
Oh, it's so impressive.
Agents worldwide. Hey, wow! Look at this map.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
This is so crazy. How did
You made
do
all this? Find us everywhere. Doomer. What? This is crazy. Except this site used cookies. So vote live. I gotta sign in. I don't want to share my screen while I sign in, but let's see here if I can identify.
Wow.
Good job, Justin. Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that is. So we've got to make these action figures now. Oh man, my call sign's too short or too long here to fit the field. Here we go. I'm trying to vote.
Isn't that insider trading or something? Aren't you?
I don't know. I just
close to it?
You cheater.
Oh, you
Pavel,
can't
what-
claim my call sign. Sorry.
Pavel, what do you got planned for today for videos? I know you probably have 3 or 4 in the hopper.
Yeah, I got there's a new UAPDA update from Burleson on Askapol. I'm gonna cover that. I'm gonna cover a bit of the McCasland story with Burchett, which is the main video for today, because there's a bunch of stuff that Burchett has said over the last week that I think needs to be covered. And I don't know what else. I think probably something about the Rogan interview with Bob and Luigi.
Should we talk about the McCaslin stuff? There's kind of some updates.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric, you had some news on that, right?
Yeah, there are some updates. Again, General McCaslin missing Friday, February 27, shortly after noon. Excuse me, shortly after 11. We're on about day 35, and there really hasn't been any news, any updates, except I believe it was this morning, the 911 call from McCaslin's wife to probably Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department was released. It's pretty brief, but it does give some insight that unfortunately supports my theory of what happened to the general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's also a detail that she talks about in the recording where she mentions that it was very evident to her that this was intentional, that he did not want to be found.
Yeah.
And she says that they recently went to the doctor because the general was feeling very stressed, and he was not sleeping, and he was losing short-term memory. So I don't know if that's an indication of like him probably early stages of something. It's possible, or if he was just under a lot of stress because of the entire situation. Because if I mean, I can guarantee you that he was aware of Reza's disappearance. I can guarantee you that because she worked under him, so he was aware of that. He was aware of how she disappeared. So yeah, and unfortunately, we all feared the most, right? That he probably, hopefully not, took his own life, and that's what this recording points towards, I think.
Yes, and
feel like I see it a little differently, but I don't disagree with that assessment. I feel like it's also possible that that explanation doesn't solve the question of why so many associated people are also missing.
Yeah.
And it does raise the question, if you were on a short list of people, you'd probably know other people on that list. You'd probably know at least who they are, or how many people would be on a list that, of people with knowledge like what you have. If they started to disappear, maybe you need to disappear. Maybe you need to disappear to protect your family. Maybe you need to disappear to, I don't know. Maybe you don't want to be found, but it's not, it's more, he went into hiding.
Yeah. Man.
I mean, because wouldn't you want your wife to know what's going on? You wouldn't want to leave your wife and your family with all these questions about, like, where did he disappear? He just walked off into the distance and never came back. I don't know.
It does
I feel
happen. People do that.
I know.
That is a thing,
it does.
Unfortunately,
and I don't know if we can listen to it, Clint. There's in our private chat, there's a YouTube clip of the call. It's short.
We've got it. What do you guys think? Xander wanted to avoid playing it just because out of respect for the family, but
right.
I also think that in this case it is really.
We can play the Burchett one as well. I think that one is because Burchett apparently got a briefing about
it's
2
not
weeks
private
ago.
information, right? It's publicly available. The recording.
I can also read the transcript. It's quite short.
Yeah, because it's his wife, and she's pretty upset, and it's weird, and it's if you could read it, maybe that's the nice.
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the 911 call placed by Susan McCaslin Wilkerson, the wife of the general. Okay, so she gets home. They do. She calls some relatives and kind of looks around the neighborhood and can't find him. Okay, so there's a call. She calls 911, probably the county sheriff's department, and she says, "My husband is missing, and it's been 3 hours, and I have some indication that he must have planned not to be found. He left his phone. He changed his clothes into I don't know what. I think he's on foot. All our cars and bicycles are in the garage. I left for a doctor's appointment around 11:10 a.m., and he was here at that time at the house, and I got back from that at noon, and he was gone. He turned it off. He left it behind," which would mean his smartphone and smartwatch, which seems kind of deliberate because he's always got his phone. He always has a smartwatch. I don't know if that's with him or not. The dispatcher says, "Has he done this before?" She replies, "Never. Nothing even remotely like it. He is a retired Air Force Major General. He's very responsible, but he's also facing medical issues. And the dispatcher asks, do you have any video at your home? She answers no. The dispatcher asks, has he been diagnosed with any mental disorders or anything like that? And Mrs. Wilkerson replies, well, we've been seeing a doc for both physical and mental in terms of anxiety, short-term memory loss, lack of sleep. The same doc I went to see today. The dispatcher asks a very important question. Does he carry any weapons on him? She replies, we're almost at the end here. Well, not generally. He does have a gun safe, and I went to look in the gun safe to see if anything was missing, but I couldn't tell. He has quite a number of pistols and rifles. Other than saying if his brain and body keep deteriorating, he didn't want to live like that. But it seemed to me that he was just like, man, I hate how this is going kind of thing, because I told him, yes, you do. Yes, you do. The dispatcher closes with, okay, we're going to send some deputies up to talk to you, see if we can search a little bit and see what's going on.
That last part is so sad, man.
Yeah.
So he was having some kind of a decline.
Right. So apparently, according to this, he had some physical and mental health issues. And I believe she specifically mentioned loss of short-term memory, sleep disturbances, and I thought
And
she might have said
anxiety.
anxiety as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like from this initial call that she has a hunch that he left with the intention of not coming back. And on top of that, the intention of not being found. Again, I think General McCaslin is up at the open space near his house. I think it's a somewhat simple, though very tragic story. I don't have any information that anybody else doesn't have. I'm not privy to anything special. It's just that this aligns with what would be likely to happen.
And you're saying this as a mental health professional and someone who works in this field, so you're not speaking.
Correct.
Yeah, you're not
Correct.
speculating. This is data driven.
Correct. And backing up a while, we talked about this like 2 weeks ago. I was telling a friend, I don't know where the general is, but if a firearm is reported missing, I'm going to change my theory to something like this. If you just look at the data and the likelihood, it kind of adds up. Now, I could be completely wrong, okay? But I believe this is what happened. Again, I was there for 4 days, so you kind of get a better feel of what's going on just to be on that land. And no new information has come out except this. And she did mention deputies. So yes, this call was to the local sheriff's department.
I guess my first question would be, and again, I have no expertise in this whatsoever. So anybody who knows more than me, if any retired police or military or anybody who's got forensics experience, I'd be curious to know what in a place like that, if a body is laying out in the elements, like what happens to it? Are there buzzards? Is there, bodies, they don't just disappear. They do. I mean, you can disappear one, of course, but like if someone's just wherever they wind up, there's going to be a body.
There's predators where he's at.
Right. So like,
yeah.
Would that make the investigation easier or harder? Like, could a experienced investigator know how to locate a body in an open space like that where it's decomposing and there's predators around? Would you be able to track those and kind of
right? They do have cadaver dogs. This is what they do. They unfortunately are tasked with finding corpses. I know a group of New York State Forest Rangers who found a deceased man because there were birds of prey, scavengers, hovering over and flying over a certain part of the forest, and they went to the ground underneath it.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like if you're out in the desert where you were, it looked like you had a pretty unobstructed view of the horizon. If you saw buzzards circling a dead body,
oh, you'd see it for sure. It
you'd know.
would be completely noticeable.
All right.
right? But what happens a lot of times is you don't find one during the initial search. Then it becomes a recovery. You still don't find the person. And then this happens way more often than people think. It is accidentally stumbled upon. The remains are accidentally stumbled upon by like a hiker or a
One
hunter.
day.
Hunters I shouldn't say hunters very commonly find these things. The remains are often found by hunters who are traveling off trail, and they're moving very slowly and looking around. But these stories are not unheard of. You get a hiker, they go 50 feet off the trail to pee, and oh my God, they weren't expecting to find this.
Right.
Sometimes
Not
years
uncommon.
later.
Years later.
Who was the? There was a kid who went out and lived in a school bus and passed away from exposure.
Into the wild. Into the wild.
Kansas.
Yeah.
They didn't find him until how many years later? It was, God, way later.
Years. Yeah.
Years
Yeah,
later.
yeah. The book Into the Wild by Krakauer.
Yeah. So he did take his pistol, or he left it. He did
Yes,
take
he
it.
took a 38 revolver with a holster.
Mm. It seemed odd that
Which-
she didn't know what he changed into.
Well,
Yeah,
not
people
really.
were. If people
what
were
did he-
wondering about that. He also has a summer home not far from where I live. He has a summer. They have a I should say a vacation home
Yeah.
in southern Colorado, and they went through that and they were really trying to figure out exactly what he was wearing. They know definitively he brought a red backpack, but as far as the clothing and footwear, they're unsure because he owns a lot of stuff, like all of us do.
Yeah.
And nobody in the neighborhood had a security camera that caught anything, or I think about
Correct.
like, well, it's different. It's a different story altogether. But Luigi Mangione, the guy who shot that executive from the insurance company in New York, they found him. They found him a couple of days later. He was at a McDonald's in another state, but they had like footage on every camera. Like there was just footage of this guy.
Correct.
And of course, it's New York and it's different.
Yeah, it's New
different
York.
animal.
Yeah. The sheriff's office and the FBI canvassed the neighborhood, and they stopped at 700 homes. And even I thought that was like, how could they not have footage? But once you're there on the ground, you can kind of see how this works. The neighborhood has a couple homemade paths that go up a little canyon into the open space, so people don't have to walk the narrow paved road. So just because there wasn't footage of him, that just means he didn't go up the paved road and through the traditional neighborhood. But it's common for residents to walk out their back door and kind of skimmy up through the woods into the open space. So that's not really a big deal.
By the way, if they really wanted to find him, don't we have like satellite surveillance covering every inch of the globe and recording at all times? Like if they really wanted to find him, couldn't they use those resources and just pull up satellite feeds and just follow him out his house? I assume everything's recorded at all times.
I'm under the impression that does not happen.
Okay.
Like why would you surveil a random spot on Earth?
I'm just saying having satellites all around the atmosphere covering every inch of the globe at all times. I feel like everything's being watched at all times. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
Well, I believe if it was, if I believe it was, we would have a lot more unsolved crimes than we do, or disappearances. Right. So I'm thinking no, but I don't know.
Yeah. This is such an interesting, it's such a weird, this is so typical of like all of these aspects of the UFO rabbit hole. Every time you think you've got something and you think you know what it is, it just gets more and more confusing. There's so many facets to it.
Play that Burchett clip. Now that you're talking about
that. Is that the
I think Pavel put it in the
UAP
chat.
James?
Yes, where the
Okay, hold on.
where there's his picture and McCaslin's picture in the image. It's from a radio show Burchett just did.
Wait, so it's not this Joe Rogan clip?
No, go to the UAP James's page and scroll a little down, and you'll see the Burchett and McCaslin picture It's not that far down.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So still, really unfortunate with McCaslin. I mean, can you imagine not knowing? Like a family member.
Horrible.
Well, that's
It's a
that's
terrible,
what I'm
terrible
thinking.
feeling.
What happened with this two-star general?
He was he's the guy that was had a lot of nuclear secrets and was allegedly the gatekeeper. And I've been told by several sources that he was the gatekeeper for the UFO stuff. And of course, his family says, "Oh, he didn't have anything to do with UFO." But these people are people of honor.
Well, they didn't want to die either.
Yeah, and they don't tell their family. So their family isn't a target.
And,
Yeah, but
and Congressman, I understand there's others too, right? I was seeing that there's like a whole bunch of scientists that are also tied to some top secret stuff.
Yes, ma'am. The lady that disappeared, she had a lot to do with the metallurgy, the top secret metallurgy that we use in some of our missiles and stuff. I mean, it all just kind of fits together. And it's a very small fraternity. And when anytime one of them, something happens to one, the others are take note of it. And I was briefed this past week, and I'll just say that that group is very nervous. They are very nervous about what's going on.
Which group? The small fraternity.
The people that know.
I think he's talking about MJ12, right? That's what he's.
That's
Secret metallurgy that we use in some of our missiles and stuff. I mean, it all just kind of fits together. And it's a very small fraternity. And when anytime one of them, something happens to one, the others are take note of it. And I was briefed this past week, and I'll just say that that group is very nervous. They are very nervous about what's going on.
Wow.
I didn't piece together the Majestic thing, but that's fascinating, Pavel. That's a interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Either he's talking about that or the alleged association that Danny Sheehan spoke about on Third Eye Drops last week. That was pretty big too. Sheehan goes on to talk about there's a different group opposed to the MJ12 group that is trying to get this out and that is fighting for getting it out. So I don't know if like Burchett is referring to the bad guys or the good guys. I'm not sure, but
I also
he's
thought he meant
referring
the
to
whole.
some kind of.
I thought he meant like all the scientists and everyone who works on any aspect of the program. So
The legacy program.
That's
probably.
that's how I read it too. It was like it sounded like he was saying there's not a lot of people who work at this level. It's a small club, and so they all know each other more or less, or they know who each other is. And if 3 or 4 of them are missing, that's a big fucking deal. Which is what I was trying to get at earlier, and it's probably maybe I didn't do a good job of saying it, but it's like if what he is saying is accurate, and this is a small group of maybe 25 people, 30 people, 10, I don't know how small is small, how big is big. They know each other, and then they know that, oh shit, they're going missing. These people are starting to disappear under mysterious circumstances. It's not impossible to think you'd want to go into hiding, and you wouldn't want your wife to know where you are. You wouldn't want anybody to know where you were. You would just disappear. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, the only reason I would support that as a possibility is that no body has been found yet.
Of course, yeah, and if that happens, then we know what happened. But it's because of the other people in the list that are all missing that complicates the thing. Mm-hmm. It makes it really weird, because this isn't the first time this has happened. This happened with Ning Lee, the anti-gravity researcher in Huntsville, Alabama, who famously vanished, and they wrote about it in the local paper. The whatever the Huntsville local paper was, there's an article in it about the mysterious disappearance of Ning Lee, the Chinese anti-gravity researcher who supposedly back as early as the early 2000s demonstrated a device that performed similarly to what Bob Lazar described the gravity emitter doing. And this is like documented. You can find this. She had a disc that was the size of what appeared to be a vinyl record, and that disc you could take an object and you could activate this disc, and if you put an object above it, it would just stay in place. You could take a cup of coffee and you take a box of Night Shift coffee, available at teamnightshift.com. You can go there. And you could just put it in the air and it would float in that field and be suspended indefinitely. And if you amped it up, you could have something lift off from the ground and just float up to space. It just in a column directly above this disc. That's what the effect was. And then she vanished without a trace one day. And supposedly some people said that she got recruited to go work for the Chinese. And other people say that she was disappeared to go into some kind of underground capacity. I don't think that was ever resolved. Secret science.
There's also the Emmie Estrich story.
Sure. That is such a hot potato and such a spicy meatball. I feel weird talking about it now. I used to talk about it more because it was so weird, but gosh, I just don't know what to do with that, man. It's so dark. Yeah. Her story has all of the, if you listen to what she's saying, she's kind of describing Havana syndrome as it's like she might have been one of the Havana people.
Yeah.
She talked about, her case is just, it's tough because I don't know this person's personal background. I don't know their story. I just know the contents of this really bizarre one-time interview that she did, this appearance on a podcast, and then she's on there for a couple hours. And then when you look into her story and you look up the group that she started in Huntsville, it was what was the name of it? They've got a website. They had they have presentations on YouTube you can find where she's giving presentations on anti-gravity research. But supposedly, she passed away under mysterious circumstances, and it's unclear what led up to that. And it's just a weird case, man. I don't know. She's another data point.
100%.
And if the truth was about to be revealed, maybe if there are two factions that are at odds about what that truth is and who reveals it and how that gets rolled out, yeah, maybe one group is taking some steps. Or maybe it's international espionage. Maybe it's one group from another country trying to, I don't know, eliminate people.
Or interrogate people.
If we're leading up to some kind of big event, again, this is just one of those things that it's like the timing. It's the timing of all of this that it makes it all feel even weirder than it would normally be. If it were out of context, this would just be one really weird data point. Bunch of scientists at the top of their field doing really high-end experimental research on these types of non-human materials and craft, all disappearing under mysterious circumstances. You've got that. You've got this whole conflict in Iran. You have all this talk of a third world war, nuclear war, Chris Bledsoe. Humans are containers, cats and dogs living together.
Living together, mass hysteria. Oh, this is fun.
This is fun.
Lazar on the Rogan interview says where the sport model came from. He explains where it came from. That it was found, recovered from an underwater archaeological dig. Ooh, that's hot. That's hot goss.
Like that is a spicy meatball. Wait, who just said that? Where is that?
It's on Twitter. It's on Twitter.
Bob Lazar on Joe Rogan.
He explained.
Bob Lazar says it was recovered from an underwater archaeological dig,
which he referenced in one of his prior Rogan interviews.
Yes,
he said that sometimes we find these things in archaeological digs. I didn't realize he was referring to the actual fucking sport model.
Yeah, and last time we spoke, Dylan, we were talking about how Dylan Borland hinted at that as well.
Oh yeah,
right.
Archaeological site.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that the interview on Rogan has been up 2 hours and it's nearing 250,000 views.
God damn.
Incredible.
I'm gonna add one more when we're done here. I'll do one more view.
I'm gonna add 3.
Yeah.
Wow. An underwater archaeological dig reminds me of that Michael Crichton book, Sphere, the movie Sphere. We watched it we watched a little bit of it in Austin.
Yeah, we did.
And they're having this whole meeting and they're like, yeah, it was found buried under coral. And then they were like, well, you could calculate how long it's been there based on the growth of the coral. Coral grows at half an inch a year, whatever the number is. And then they sit there and they calculate out and they're like, so this ship is crashed in the ocean, X number of hundreds of years ago. And now we're finding it.
And it's still on.
But that was it's those little soft disclosure that feels like soft disclosure. Now here we are in 2026 and you're having Bob Lazar is basically telling you, yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
I would love to know where. I would love to know how they found it. These are the things that I want to jump ahead 100 years to look back and be like, how are these things? I want to see videos of recoveries. I want to know how they find them. I want to know all the details. So bad.
Do you think at some point in the future could you see a day where there's a documentary that actually does show that, like the way that we look at like Chernobyl and it's like, oh my God, can you believe these guys were just doing that? And it's like,
yeah,
I like to think so. Yeah, I think we will. I think so.
I hope it features us. That'd be awesome.
There we go.
I want to know about the culture. I want to know about the people. I want to know about like if Bob Lazar says you could get from here to there, it's 34 or 32 light years or whatever it was, 24 light years. I forget the exact number, but whatever the number is, this craft can make it. They describe how it works. They know how it works. They can fly it. They know how to fly it. Obviously, they've been flying them, and that was in 1989. Now cut to 2026. What else do we know? What have they done with it since then? You don't think they're going to take it for a spin? I mean, if they could, wouldn't they take it out of the solar system? Why wouldn't you?
Well, if we believe Bob, they definitely take them for a spin, right?
Imagine being the Artemis crew when Trump discloses, hey, we've got this. You're in a tiny capsule. You're like, what am I doing? Did Chris Bledsoe recently say that Egypt would say something that would change the history? Yes. That's
he
the
alluded
prophecy.
to it,
yeah. That was the nuclear weapon thing. Yeah, there are other ways that you can use a nuclear weapon too. It doesn't have to be a cruise missile. Although that Regulus cruise missile, I looked at it, it was from launching from surfaced submarines and aircraft carriers, I think is what it was. It was a type of cruise missile. If there were still some around, I wonder if another country would have one. Maybe would Israel have something like that? Would we have given them maybe our old arsenal? Or you could have a situation where somebody, a group of special forces smuggle a nuclear warhead in a bag in the back of a van into a country and then park it out in the desert somewhere near a base. And then, I mean, why couldn't they? It doesn't have to be a cruise missile. It doesn't have to be it could be delivered in other ways. It could have a suitcase bomb. That was the big thing after 9/11. Remember that? The next couple of 10 years after 9/11, it was like suitcase bomb. Anthrax.
All the talk. Anthrax. That was a fun time. And
remember that? It was like shoe bombs. There was anthrax, shoe bombs. First they had mysterious white powder got shipped to the FBI or got delivered in an envelope, and they opened up this envelope and white powder spilled out everywhere. And then for the next 6 months, they were like, anthrax, it's going to be dispersed around America by terrorists. And then it was the guy who had a bomb in his shoe. Thank him for us all having to take our shoes off for the next 15 years for doing that. And then what was the other thing? All of it. The suitcase bomb, the backpack thing. Now they're doing that again. They're dusting that whole conversation off again.
We as people are so stupid. We just can't stop just destroying ourselves at every chance we get.
It's true. Larry Jones says the Regulus cruise missiles are ancient and probably all disassembled for the nuclear cores. Okay.
Maybe.
Oh my God, show bomb guy. I hate you, dude. What is this? I don't know what that means. I lost track of our chat. What is happening, guys, in the chat?
Oh, that was Sarah, by the way. That message. She's the one that did the artwork for my podcast. She's incredible.
Oh,
hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Instagram at Dream Tremors. Check her out.
Show
Amazing.
bomb guy. Can you be more specific, Sarah? What show bomb guy? I hate you, dude.
The shoe bomber.
Shoe bomber.
Oh,
show
guy.
Richard Reed.
Yep.
Richard. That's who it was.
He's
On the plane.
fucked over millions and millions of travelers, maybe billions at this point.
Think of how many man hours have been wasted taking shoes off and on and off and on, and just the stupid security theater that is just so goofy and unnecessary. And as far as we know, did nothing. Like they never caught anybody, as far as we know. And this is the thing, right? Like I showed that chart earlier about the national debt. And if you notice, it goes up regardless of who the president is or what party is in power. It just keeps going up. It goes up through all the Democratic administrations. It goes up through the Republican administration. It's the same thing. And it's like this story of we just have to be ready for all of these threats all of the time. And we can't pay for daycare. Can't cover, Medicare and Medicaid, all this. We're a big country. We have a lot of bills to pay. I just feel like people are over that argument. I feel like people are getting just tired of it. It's so it's so obvious. Like that's just we have too much information now. We know that's not correct. We know that doesn't work. You can't just you can't. This never ends. It just keeps going on forever and ever. We're going to spend $1.5 trillion now.
That's insane.
I know. I'm going to go play the Doomer Friday video game now, I think, and just calm my nerves.
It's really relaxing. Enjoy.
Calm your tits.
So this is, I'm going to show a clip just to highlight something I said before, and I think people need to understand something about this. I just want to show this. I'm not trying to be a smart ass here. I'm trying to show a clip of this woman. This is the evangelical spiritual advisor to the president of the United States. This is just her being her. I'm just going to show this so people know who's influencing policy here. These are the type of people who are in charge of our decision making.
Strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says it is done. For I hear victory, 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 victory in the corridors of heaven. In the corridors of heaven, victory, 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 victory. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi ashada. For angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here in the name of Jesus. From South America, they're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here.
That's enough, dude. I can't take it.
I hear the sound of victory.
This is the worst freestyle rapper I've ever heard in my life. Dude, what the fuck is that? That's a
great question.
Trump's spiritual advisor, who says she's one of the people who says that Trump has been directed by Jesus himself to conduct this war, and she's like talking to Trump almost daily. It's fucking crazy.
We are absolutely fucked.
I'm just saying these people have a seat at the table, right? These people have a seat at the table, and you know who doesn't have a seat at the table? Like there are no indigenous people, I'm sure, that have a seat at the table. There's no there are no pacifists, I'm sure. I don't think there's any pacifists in that room. You know, when we're talking about what we're going to do with this UFO information, we're going to divide this up. How are we going to spin this? How's this message coming out? How is it going to land? That's a factor. Those folks, and they have really strong feelings about, obviously, about what the fucking direction of this world needs to be and how it's going to be executed. And I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable with that. That's a problem.
That person is an absolute lunatic.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And it's people like that, between those folks and the Epstein people. And by the way, this is across the, this is not just Republicans or Democrats. This is everybody. I'm saying everybody here, all of them. It's like we have, I think that's the thing that I can't get away from at the end of the day when I really sit down and have a moment of solitude and I kind of think about all these giant questions. It just seems to me like there's no escaping the truth that at the end of the day, it's about individual people saying, I'm not going to accept this anymore. This is fucking horseshit. We can do better. We need to do better. We have got to hold our leadership to a higher standard, but we have to understand what that looks like first. And we've got to figure out how to fix our own shit internally. And I don't know how you do that. It's why it's one of the reasons I get depressed about it sometimes, is because I'm just like, God, we are so fucking backwards. We're so confused and twisted about what is going on here. And everybody has their own agenda. They want to spin this, you know, are they demons? Are they aliens? Are they, you know, where are they from? What are they going to, you know, how do we use this? And it's like, wow. When you see, I don't know, when you see this, it's hard to reconcile.
That just made me think too. Okay, Eric, please.
Oh, let's take just a sec. Interesting, but totally irrelevant. Her husband is the guitar player for Journey.
Is that who she's married to? Wow.
Jonathan Cain.
Is that right?
I just read her bio.
I'm supposed to be going to a Journey concert soon, and I think I'm going to be meeting that guy, so I might have to be face to face with this woman.
Oh my God. Well, you'll have to do a temperature check.
Don't blow your cover.
No, I'm not. Whoa. I can't believe that was a real person.
Dude, you just look up Paula White on YouTube. You don't have to. This isn't me being a jerk. I'm not trying to be like a hippy dippy left winger, you know, fucking whatever. I'm just saying, like, look, the door swings both fucking ways. If we can look at the bad guys on the left, we can look at the bad guys on the right too. We can look at both sides and we can say that's fucking crazy. I'm sorry, it's just crazy. And I don't want that person anywhere near the guy who pushes the button or who picks up the phone and tells them to launch the nukes or do whatever. Like, I just feel I'm very uncomfortable. You know, it's like folks like that. And then you've got folks like the Sam Altmans of the world and the Elon Musks and groups of unelected billionaires who are clearly socially maladjusted, underdeveloped people. They don't know how to act like human beings in a fucking room. And I'm sorry, but that's a minimum requirement for me. I suffer from tremendous anxiety. I've always had it. It's to the point where there have been days where I can't even walk out my front door. Believe me, I know what it's like. But these people are not like the rest of us. This is something else with them. They are gambling with our lives, and they are gleefully doing it. And they know that the odds of destruction are in the 20, 30, 40%, 50% range. And they're happy about it.
Like,
this is weird.
How can a spiritual leader be saying strike and strike and strike and strike and strike until you have victory?
That's a propagandist. That's not a spiritual.
Of course, I agree
at all.
And that just makes me think too. Like, if we're talking about the Trump disclosure, if it's anything but a peaceful attempt of if he doesn't come at it fully from a peaceful side, it's a failure to me. If there's any kind of threat talk, I feel like it's a complete failure of an announcement.
I mean, I'm okay with him saying that if he does, which I don't think he will. I'm okay with him saying that we don't know what it is, therefore we have to prepare in case anything, you know. But if he goes straight to the threat, that's where I will have an issue. But I don't think it's smart to just go like, "Oh, this is entirely positive." We don't know.
I agree with that.
He's got true. He's got to be so careful. It has to be so. It's such a delicate, like the most delicate discussion man has ever had. It has to be done perfectly. I think. I don't know.
Yes.
I could see, it's like going back to the George Bush 9/11 thing. In that moment, and I remember it so clearly. I remember watching it, and he really, they gave George Bush a hard time on the campaign, and they was, oh, he's such a good old boy, and he's kind of like this. Oh, he's the guy you want to have a beer with. That was the first time I really heard that. President you want to sit down and have a beer with, and he was, they gave him a hard time for not being too bright. But I will say this, that in the days after 9/11, in that little window of time there, when he came out and had an opportunity to make that speech about how America was going to respond, and he's like, the people who did this are going to hear from us and all this. In that moment, he could have said, today we've decided that we're going to disarm. And we want the whole world to disarm. The United States is going to make that. That's our pledge today. A pledge for peace. We're going to figure out a way to beat this, and we're going to just. He could have given that speech, and the world would have gone along with it. I feel like it would have been that kind of power in that moment. And I feel like if this is wasted, and you have anything less than a new optimism, people should walk away from a disclosure speech feeling hopeful about the future. They should be thinking, I want to, you know what? Maybe I am going to start a family. Maybe I am going to, I'm going to take better care of myself. So I'm around a little bit longer, That's the kind of reaction I want to see.
We want that. And that's a beautiful way to look at it, but it's also that's just not who we are. And I think we can get there. I just don't think we're close to it yet, but I'm with you. That's how I want it to be. And it can be that. Maybe it will. Let's be open
Maybe
to it being that.
Do you think that's what Bledsoe's, prophecy is kind of alluding to? Is at some point we go over the edge and we get a glimpse of what the bombs look like when you set them off, and then we stop and go, oh shit.
Well, we had that in 1945, and we didn't stop anything. It's only gotten worse since then. But we've seen that, and now we're just more armed than we were almost 100 years ago.
And then there's the question of, the guys who have talked about this, I've heard a few different people say this, that every time there's been a mistake where somebody accidentally pushes the button, or there's some kind of, something happen. There's mistakes happen all the time. There was one guy I saw recently, was like, there were 300 specific instances where there was a nuclear weapon they attempted to use one. And it just, every single time it didn't go off. And it's like someone is stopping them every single time. So if you knew that the whole global nuclear stockpile was functionally inert, how much would that information be worth? It doesn't matter who launches anything. It doesn't matter. It won't work. You could launch them all. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yep.
And what if
be right
they
back,
did?
guys? Sorry, be right back.
That would be a hell of an announcement by some world leader, just to come out and say, by the way, just so you guys know, there has been hundreds of nukes attempted to be used. We can't do it. Something's interfering. Let's figure this out.
Scene.
Well done.
Let's end on that.
Thank you. Great.
I don't know.
By the way, I love that. Dan's just so obnoxious. You mention anything and he has an in. I'm like, she's married to the guy from Journey. He's like, oh, I'm hanging out with Journey.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me.
Everything I say.
Don't start with me, dudes. Not today.
You guys have such a funny back and forth over this. It's true though. I'm like, dude, how do you know all these people? So
it's
cool.
my industry, man. I've been doing this for 20 years.
That's true. You have, yeah. You know everybody. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Then my girlfriend's like, "You wish you were Dan," and I'm like, "Shut up."
We all wish we were Dan.
It's not that great.
I don't want to
no,
comment.
man.
Oh my God. All right, guys. Well, I don't want to bail until I don't want to wait for Pavel to come back to bail, but I don't want to bail while he's gone either. So I guess we'll.
Well, one more plug. Where do people get the night shift coffee? I've had a couple friends order it so far.
Oh, yeah. Let's do my final pitch on the night shift coffee. Okay, look, I'm going to share it with everybody here. I didn't want to, hog the show today with this, but it is fun and it's something I'm really proud of. So if you're playing at home, we're just going to do this real quick while you're getting settled in, Pavel. So I'm going to show people. This is a real thing. This is a real thing that I have been working on for months and months now, and it kind of started from a trip to Peru. It kind of started before that. I always wanted to own my own cafe. I always wanted to have a coffee shop. It's just been like a cool dream. And I was in Peru, and I was trying to think of things to do with night shift. And one day it just occurred to me, I should do coffee. I drink coffee. It's what fuels me when I do it. And, I'm drinking it all the time. And people had been asking like, well, what kind of coffee do you drink? And so I started down the process of figuring out how to do that and how to make it happen. And then I had to go through, it was a ton of research and finding the right partner to work with and how to make all this come together, and then putting the infrastructure in place and getting the design. And Cole did the bag design and put the whole concept together based on just a few notes that I had kind of gave him in a text. He knocked it out of the park on like the third try, of course. And so now we've got this awesome coffee, and basically the deal is this: the coffee is a blend of Mexican beans and Brazilian beans that I chose. I tasted over 22 different varieties of coffee. I spent days with each one. I got to a point where I was, really in love with this one particular blend. Smooth, delicious. It was fresh. It was like you grind the beans and you pour hot water on them and they foam, and there's a crema and there's this aroma comes off. And I was just blown away by this. I took notes on every single one, and I went back to this same blend a couple times. And so the way it works is when you order it, if you click the button and you order it, your bag is roasted on demand for you and shipped directly to you. So this is roast on demand coffee within 48 hours of you placing your order. And the idea behind this was just, I wanted something that we could all enjoy. Like people could watch the show and drink coffee and hang out. We could all hang out and like have coffee talk kind of a thing. And it's a way that you can subscribe to the coffee and get a discount. It's 10% off if you get it delivered once a month. Oh, and it's cool. A way that you can support the show, and you kick in a couple of bucks to night shift, and you get a bag of coffee. So it's like a win-win. And it's delicious.
Congratulations, dude. It's awesome. My wife loves it. I'm not a coffee guy, but you sent us a bag, and she loves it. So your reviews are going to be good, I think.
Well, she is a great American, and I appreciate her support.
She sure is.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before we go? I don't want to leave it on that.
No, way to go on the coffee. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. If you do a brand of Monster Energy drink, I'd be interested in that. If you can get a flavor of Monster, I'm all in.
Or hemp gummies.
Ooh.
It's the night shift stack. It's going to be a nice indica and a cup of coffee.
I would do that with you, Clint.
The night shift stack?
Just like hemp gummies. Yeah.
I'm in, dude. Yeah.
Got to figure out how that all works. Well, I can tell you this. The coffee went great. The launch was on Wednesday, and the website immediately broke. That's how successful it was. We broke, It crashed the store, and then I had to spend the whole next day on Thursday just fixing all that because it just it couldn't handle the influx. So it's all working now. Everything's smooth and good, and I hope that people enjoy it. Yeah.
Awesome. Congrats, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, What else is going on? Anybody else got anything you want to pitch to the audience before we go?
No, watch out for the next 3 videos that I'm gonna drop later today.
God, 3 more. Gotta add it to the list. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining us at home. If you're watching and participating in the chat, you're awesome. I want to see. Did we get an answer on our poll? I don't know if I closed that poll or not. I feel like it's.
What was the poll?
I had a poll if you were watching if you had watched S4 or were planning to watch it, and my poll has disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. So we don't know, but a lot of people were going to watch it, so that's good. And any other super chats? Let's see. Did we get to? Oh, the Wrath of Kant even enjoyed my coffee this morning. Loved it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. You're going to get. Please leave a review. I don't think we have any reviews yet, so we're going to have new reviews. Oh, and if anybody does want to try it, Night Shift 10, get 10% off. Use that code when you check out. I should have led with that. I'm sorry. Night Shift 10. Thanks, Wrath of Kant even. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out Others from Another Mother, Psicoactivo, the UAP therapist at outcomecounseling.com, right? Outcomecounseling.com. And we'll see you
Dreamland Motel
next week. Dreamland Motel, Xander Jones. Go there, subscribe, support him. And I would just leave you guys with this, by watching this show, I know it's, we're one of many and we're not the biggest and we're not the most well-known. That's fine. But by just being a part of this conversation and watching this show and participating in any of these shows or any of the channels or any of the things that we're trying to do, this is a community that is pushing this conversation forward. And it's this participation. This is where the action is. This is where the line moves further down the field. Like, we're making progress by just doing this, sharing ideas, spitballing, kicking around what ifs and maybes. That's what it is. And if you are a creative person and you feel the drive to make something happen and you want to build something in this space, like a website or a podcast or a YouTube channel, or you've got an idea for something, a book you want to write, just know that all of us out here are supporting each other, and we want to support what you're doing too. So if there's something that you're working on and you want to talk about it, you can reach out to not just me, but any of us here. Get in contact with us through our channels or websites, and we want to see the community succeed. We want to see the conversation move forward. So to people like Xander's writing music, and he's doing a whole channel around it, and he's got other projects in the works too. And Mr. Justin is he's got 10 different things he's working on right now. We're all doing what we can. So, and if all you can do right now is just hang out with us, that's enough. It's okay. You don't have to do more. There's a lot going on in the world. I know we're all busy. We've got a lot on our plate. So just be here. That's enough. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Keep looking up.
Bye.